Chapter 139. Sure enough, the inland is not peaceful enough. Xing Hui frowned. In terms of spirit and Qi Unity Realm experts, none of the 10 sacred sects could be compared to the overseas sections. After all, the overseas sects were vast, spanning tens of millions of miles. There were naturally countless experts hidden in the vast area. But what Xing Hui was afraid of was not spirit and Qi Unity Realm experts, but those above the spirit and Qi Unity Realm. According to the Divine Dragon ranking, there were at most 30 to 40 palace masters in the overseas Qingming territory. Even if there were some hidden ones, there would not be more than 100. This number was more than enough for Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Moreover, other than the palace masters, Hunyuan Heaven Sect also had Immortal Stage 6, Prominent Divine Stage, and even Saint Stage experts. These people were not people he could fight against. I hope Blazing Glory's side goes smoothly and exchanged for enough fire spirit crystals. Now that I have the Great Sun Essence, with some fire spirit crystals, it won't be difficult for me to reach small success in my Divine Qi Unity Realm. If I can reach small success in my Divine Qi Unity Realm, I won't be afraid of ordinary spirit and Qi Unity Realm experts. Looking at the overseas Divine Dragon ranking, it won't be difficult for me to rank in the top 600. At that time, I will have a long period of peace. Xing Hui muttered to himself. Flying on his sword, he covered 1,000 miles in an instant. Soon, Xing Hui returned to the Luo Lin kingdom. However, considering that Erasure Yudo knew him well, it was very likely that she would inform Juri that he was in the Luo Lin kingdom. When he arrived, he did not show himself. Instead, he rented a small residence outside the Luo Lin kingdom and hid there. Blazing Glory would take a few days to go to Baiyang City and back. He did not intend to waste these few days 3 Great Sun Essences. With the help of the Fire Phoenix Feather, it was enough for him to reach the Spirit Refining Realm. Now let's begin. Qing Su sucked in a deep breath and immediately drew out the power of the Feather of the Fire Phoenix. Immediately, the Feather of the Fire Phoenix shone with a scorching light, enveloping his entire body. For a moment, he seemed to be bathed in warm sunlight, and his senses for fire energy skyrocketed. As long as he focused his attention, he could even vaguely see faint red specks in the air. That was the fire elemental energy contained within the heaven and earth. Mysterious. Was this the Divine Beast Phoenix's perspective on the Qi of heaven and earth? If a single feather of my fire phoenix could create such a miraculous phenomenon, then what about a real phoenix? Even if they eat and sleep all day long, there will still be an endless stream of fire attribute energy flowing into their bodies, allowing them to naturally grow into saint-level existences when they reach adulthood. Xing Hui sighed with emotion for a moment, but he did not dare to waste any more time. The power of the phoenix feather was limited. Under normal circumstances, it could only support him for 10 days to half a month. Now that he was refining the essence of the Great Sun, the time he could use it would be even shorter. He had to seize every second. Because he had already had the opportunity to refine the Great Sun essence once, this time Xing Hui could be said to be very familiar with the process. As the Great Sun essence entered his body, the Golden Crow True Qi in his body once again began to surge with joy. The Golden Crow projection in his spiritual world even let out a series of joyful moans. This was the embodiment of his personal level of happiness rising to the peak. A large amount of the essence of the Great Sun poured into his true energy, which had been cultivated to perfection. The so-called perfection was equivalent to the amount of energy that one's true energy could contain reaching the upper limit. Now that more essence of the Great Sun was being poured into his true energy, it naturally caused his true energy, which had already reached the upper limit, to begin to overflow. His body turned bright red, and the surrounding temperature rose sharply. But before this Great Sun essence could dissipate, Xing Hui's powerful mind, along with the spirit of the Great Sun Golden Crow, abruptly suppressed the gradually dissipating pure energy and continuously compressed this energy into his own true energy. Compression. Purification. Cultivating Qi into aura. In reality, it was a process of constantly purifying and compressing one's true energy. The higher the grade of true energy, the purer and more domineering it was, and it could not contain any impurities. In this situation where there were no impurities, wanting to compress it again was almost an extravagant hope. Just like the limits of the human body. If the aura realm was compared to needing a person to increase their speed for 100 meters by 3 seconds, then an ordinary aura cultivator's original speed for 100 meters was 13 seconds, and an increase of 3 seconds was only 10 seconds. But for spirit-grade aura cultivators, their original speed for 100 meters would be 12 seconds, and an increase of 3 seconds would be 9 seconds. Above that, saint-grade aura and divine-grade aura cultivators could increase their speed by 11 or 10 seconds. Under these circumstances, increasing one's speed by 3 seconds was much more difficult than the previous two. It required breaking one's own limits again and again. Xing Hui was currently experiencing this process. Compression. Compression. Continuous compression. The golden crow image formed by his powerful mind carried with it a vast and terrifying power, constantly suppressing the surging true energy in his body, causing it to be continuously compressed and fused. Throughout this process, there would occasionally be strands of true energy escaping, and every strand of true energy that escaped would cause serious damage to his body. Fortunately, his recovery ability was extremely astonishing, and in addition to the various healing pills that he had specially swallowed, the degree of damage caused by his true energy was equal to the degree of recovery. Under these circumstances, the true energy in his body was constantly being purified. A great sun essence was silently consumed. Xing Hui was not surprised by this result. Even though he had the phoenix feather, and one great sun essence was equivalent to 2, he still cultivated divine-grade true energy. Without hesitation, he refined the second great sun essence into his body. With this new energy, the golden crow true energy that had been compressed to the extreme seemed unable to bear the burden. The surging true energy seemed to have lost control and was about to wreak havoc in his body. Fortunately, Xing Hui's level 46 mental strength was far superior to ordinary people's. In terms of mental strength, many mid-stage unity of spirit realm experts could not compare to him. Under these circumstances, even though his true energy was on the verge of going out of control, he still managed to control it within a certain range with his powerful will. Finally, this continuous refinement and compression went on for 3 days and 3 nights. On the morning of the 4th day, the true energy at the very core suddenly began to transform. Strands of golden true energy began to emit a blazing white light. Blazing white. This was the color of the sun. It was as if a limit had been broken. When the white strand of true qi appeared, more and more of the true qi began to change. The pressure on Qing Su's mind that had been strung to the limit rapidly decreased as well. When all the true energy in his body had turned blazing white, the second great sun essence was finally exhausted, and his body had completed the transformation to the Gangqi realm from the inside out. It's done! Xing Hui opened his eyes with joy. Buzz buzz. As he opened his hand, the blazing white true energy continued to rise from his hand. No. It was not true energy. This should be called Gangqi. True energy was actually just a kind of air current. Gangqi had already developed into a physical substance. At this time, if he was willing to consume a large amount of it, he could even separate his true energy and condense it into a blazing fire attribute Gangqi stone. If this fire attribute Gangqi stone was absorbed and refined by someone who also cultivated the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, the effect would be even better than the fire spirit crystal. This was the difference between Gangqi and true energy. True energy could not be stored for long, but Gangqi could. This was also why only Gangqi realm experts could refine protective jade pendants. Unfortunately, in the end, Gangqi realm experts could not create objects out of thin air. A pure Gangqi stone could take form in 1 or 2 hours, but it would dissipate after a long time. Once it was injected into a jade pendant that could carry Gangqi, the Gangqi would be contaminated by the jade pendant's impurities. This was also the reason why the protective jade pendant refined by a Gangqi realm expert was almost a whole realm weaker than the attack he used himself. Divine-grade Gangqi, I've finally arrived. Cultivating divine-grade Gangqi is really not easy. If not for my mental strength reaching 46, I would have failed halfway through, and all my previous efforts would have been wasted. Even if my mental strength was just a little over 40, I probably wouldn't have been able to take this crucial step. Xing Hui was somewhat shocked. Although he had already guessed from the words of Nailan Fei, Yan Huang, and the others that cultivating divine-grade Gang Qi was not easy, he did not expect it to be so difficult. 41 and 2 mental strengths could not even cultivate divine-grade Gang Qi. With this mental strength, one should be able to break through to the spirit and Qi unity realm, right? From the looks of it, if I want to cultivate to the realm of spirit and Qi as one, I'll have to make another trip to the 10,000 Swords Mountain and borrow the wonders of the stone pillar there to properly polish my mind. Otherwise, I won't have the slightest hope of stepping into the realm of spirit and Qi as one. It's just that, unless I really break the stone pillar of the 10,000 Swords Mountain, otherwise, just the aftershocks of the sword intent won't have much of a stimulating effect on my mind. However, once I break the stone pillar of the 10,000 Swords Mountain, the mental impact that will instantly erupt will definitely be so strong that it'll be far beyond my imagination. When Qing Su thought of this, he frowned slightly. In the end, he could only helplessly put this idea aside. Level 50. If one's mental strength did not reach level 50, one could not go to the 10,000 Swords Mountain to break the stone pillar. Even if one reached level 50, it was best to wait. Either one had to obtain a special divine weapon that could protect one's spirit or a pill that could restore one's spirit. It's already the 4th day. Xen Long and Yan Huang should have returned. Xing Hui sensed that the true energy in his body was relatively stable. He stood up and walked toward the place that Nailan Fei and the others had rented. Before long, he arrived at the courtyard. Prince Xing Hui. Jing Yun, who had been presiding over the situation in the courtyard, immediately stepped forward and bowed when he saw Xing Hui. Has there been any movement from the Eastern Cloud Empire? No. I don't know if that Jasper received the news or for some other reason, but she went into hiding. I don't know where she went. Jasper went into hiding? Qing Su's face changed slightly, and he immediately became stern. Hiding? If she wasn't guilty, why would she hide? There was only one possibility for her to hide. She had already learned of what had happened on Dragon Whale Island. Have my 2 followers, Xen Long and Yan Huang, returned? His Excellency Xen Long has returned and is resting. But Lord Yan Huang and Lord Bai Lanxing have yet to return. Chapter 140. Yan Huang and Bai Lanxing haven't returned yet? Xing Hui's pupils shrank slightly. This is the 8th day since they set off for the 100 Ocean City, right? It'll take 4 to 5 days to go back and forth from the 100 Ocean City. If it's slower, 6 to 7 days should be enough. He should know that I urgently need the Fire Spirit Crystal, so he should be here as soon as possible. Logically speaking, he should have arrived 2 to 3 days ago. Is there any news from Aunt Nailan? Because it's been too short, I haven't had time to report to Mississippi. Let Aunt Nailan send someone to inquire about the situation. Xing Hui finished speaking and walked into the courtyard. With the hidden danger of Elder Jury, he didn't plan to stay inland for long. But overseas, that was the territory of overseas cultivators. Once the cultivators of the 10 sacred sects were exposed, they would inevitably attract the wrath of overseas cultivators. Even if an immortal stage 6 expert dared to act presumptuously overseas, they would be lured into the territory of a sea overlord and become the overlord's food. Young master. In the courtyard, Xen Long knew that Xing Hui had returned and immediately greeted him. Young master, are you all right? Xen Long, it's inappropriate for you to rebuild the divine armament tower in the Eastern Cloud Empire. I can give you 2 choices now. 1. You change your identity and hide at the foot of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect for me to investigate the general movements of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's experts. You're only in the awakening stage, so no one will notice you. The other is to take your people from Dragon Chant Island and go overseas with me. At that time, I can promise you a lifetime of wealth. Xen Long was slightly startled. After a moment, he gritted his teeth and said, I hope I can help young master. I'm willing to stay in the Eastern Cloud Empire. If that's the case, then you should change your identity. At the same time, other than the Primal Chaos Temple, don't contact me in any way. Of course, Blazing Glory will continue to guide you. However, You can only guide you in the primal chaos temple. I understand. Xian Long respectfully replied, if you want to conceal your identity and change your identity, then you should be more thorough. I have a friend who is good at the art of disguise. I will go find him to learn the art of disguise. However, my father and the people of Dragon Chant Island. I will have to trouble young master to take care of them. I will arrange for a warship to send them to Dragon Beheading Island. Dragon Beheading Island has a vast territory. It won't be difficult to accommodate everyone from Dragon Beheading Island, let alone a clan. Thank you, young master. Since you're working for me, I naturally have to solve your worries. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, Xian Long once again gave him a salute before taking his leave. As for Tsing Hui, he entered the Chaos Temple. Yen Huang had returned 2 or 3 days later than expected, which made him feel that something was amiss. He immediately wanted to inquire about Yen Huang's whereabouts through the Primal Chaos Divine Palace. Your Excellency Starlight. After entering the Dawn organization, Tsing Hui stepped forward and greeted, have you seen Sir Blazing Glory these past few days? Blazing Glory. When Starlight heard Tsing Hui mention him, he felt a little strange. I haven't seen Blazing Glory for a few days. Even though Blazing Glory would sometimes go into seclusion to cultivate, he would still come up once every few days. Normally, he would even walk around our Dawn every day to get the latest news. Based on what you said, he really hasn't appeared for a few days. He didn't come? Starlight and Blazing Glory were neither relatives nor friends, so he didn't think too much about it. Maybe he's at a critical juncture in his cultivation. If you have something to discuss with him, you might as well wait a little longer. Tsing Hui nodded. Starlight thought that Blazing Glory had gone to cultivate, but Tsing Hui knew. Blazing Glory had gone to Baiyang City to exchange for fire spirit crystals for him, but now he had disappeared without a trace. Something unexpected had happened. Coincidentally, at this moment, Heaven's Inquisition walked out of his private room. Seeing Heaven's Inquisition, Tsing Hui immediately stepped forward. Please wait, Your Excellency Heaven's Inquisition, I would like to inquire about some information from you. What does Your Excellency Pak Hui want to inquire about? If I can tell you, I won't be stingy. I would like to make a deal with Your Excellency Heaven's Inquisition, Tsing Hui said. Hearing him mention the word deal, Heaven's Inquisition's expression immediately turned grave. The organization that Heaven's Inquisition belonged to was called the Divination Pavilion. Although it was not part of the 10 great sacred sects, none of the 10 great sacred sects dared to underestimate it. The Divination Pavilion's business was to sell information, so as one of its members, it was naturally very well informed. Heaven's Inquisition could tell Tsing Hui some ordinary information since they were both members of the Dawn and were both sons of chaos with great potential. However, once it involved a deal, it was no longer his personal matter, but the entire Divination Pavilion's matter. This was because in order to ensure the reputation of the Divination Pavilion, he had to use all his channels to ensure the authenticity of the information. He had to make sure that the customer was satisfied. Since it's a deal, Your Excellency Pak Hui, please leave Ling Yu's personal space and use this technique. As Heaven's Inquisition spoke, he passed a technique to him. As Tsing Hui left Ling Yu's personal space and used the technique, his surroundings suddenly became blurry. Soon, he appeared in a small conference room. This is the personal space of a certain important person of our Divination Pavilion, a Level 3 personal space. A Level 3 personal space, 1,000 meters in length, width, and height. There were countless small conference rooms like this one. May I know what information Your Excellency Pak Hui wishes to purchase? Your Excellency Blazing Glory's identity in the real world should be known by Heaven's Inquisition. He is the island master of Glazed Island. Not long ago, I made a big deal with the island master of Glazed Island. He took my deposit and said that he would go to 100 Seas City to pick up the goods. However, it has been 4 days since the agreed time, and he still hasn't delivered the goods. Understood? Heaven's Inquisition said, originally, we wouldn't accept a deal that involves the true identity of a son of chaos. However, Your Excellency Pak Hui has already provided his true identity, location, and time. In that case, there is no harm in accepting it. I will submit this information now, and there will be a reply soon. Please wait for a moment. Xing Hui nodded. The Divination Pavilion's information sales system had long been established, and its efficiency was astonishing. It was said that there was a special divine weapon in the Divination Pavilion that was responsible for collecting information collected by members of the Divination Pavilion from all over the world. It was also extremely efficient. Right now, Heaven's Inquisition was probably using a portion of this divine weapon's authority. In less than an incense stick's worth of time, Heaven's Inquisition stretched out his hand, and 3 scrolls appeared in it. Heaven's Inquisition looked at it for a moment and quickly said, "Sir White Ruins, I have 3 sets of information with me. The details are different and the prices are different as well. The first set has the lowest price and only requires a 3rd-step divine weapon or an item of equivalent value. The second set has a slightly higher price and is worth 1,000,000 spiritual stones. As for the 3rd set, it only accepts items that carry the Tao and requires items that contain a little bit of Tao. Furthermore, according to the rules of the Divination Pavilion, no information can be leaked to a second person. Please forgive me. I am willing to use items that carry the Tao, but I want to read the information now. Of course, you can do it within a month. However, we will need to use our personal space to record the process of our transaction as proof of payment. Your Excellency Pak Hui, please do not mind." "All right." Heaven's Inquisition nodded. In less than half a minute, he directly handed the most detailed information to Xing Hui. "Your Excellency Pak Hui, please read it. I will take my leave first." For transactions of this level, the members of the Divination Pavilion only had the right to resell the information and did not have the authority to read the information. This was to ensure that the information was kept confidential. Xing Hui opened the information and read it. After a short while, his expression turned serious. Dragon Shadow? That traitor of Dawn? That traitor was already at the unity of Divine Qi realm when he betrayed Dawn. He was the second most powerful person in Dawn after the leader, Ling Yu. After that, he made a fortune by betraying the Sons of Chaos of Dawn. Now, his cultivation is probably even more profound. I can't even treat him as someone at the unity of Divine Qi realm. Moreover, other than Dragon Shadow, there was another person mentioned in the information. A mysterious woman. And according to the information revealed in the information, Dragon Shadow, who could not be treated as an ordinary expert at the unity of Divine Qi realm, was actually that woman's subordinate? "Your Excellency Heaven's Inquisition?" Xing Hui called out. After a short while, Heaven's Inquisition's figure appeared in the small conference room again. "Your Excellency Pak Hui, do you have any other requests? This information mentioned a mysterious woman. I would like to know more about this mysterious woman." "Please wait a moment," Heaven's Inquisition said, and quickly submitted his request. This time, it was even faster. In less than 10 breaths, a small scroll fell into his hands. This scroll was for Heaven's Inquisition to read. After a short while, he said, "This mysterious woman is a son of chaos, so we cannot sell her information. However, since you have made a deal with the vessel of Tao, we can reveal this woman's cultivation to your Excellency Pak Hui. She is at the peak of the unity of Divine Qi realm." A son of chaos, and at the peak of the unity of Divine Qi realm, Xing Hui's heart sank. What is the rank of the son of chaos? Heaven's Inquisition shook his head. The scroll did not specify, so it clearly cannot be leaked. A son of chaos who could cultivate to the peak of the unity of Divine Qi realm would generally not be lower than rank 5. It would be fine if she was within rank 5, but he feared that she was at rank 10. If a rank 10 son of chaos at the peak of the unity of Divine Qi realm used a divine art, even a blue netherworld expert would be killed by her in one blow. Moreover, the Sons of Chaos were all people who relied on opportunities. Almost none of them had cultivated ordinary Gang Qi, and even the weakest of them had reached the spiritual Gang Qi realm. Even if Xing Hui used a divine art and wielded the rank 5 divine weapon, the Crimson Dragon Sword, he would be no match for her. Xing Hui fell silent at this result. Blazing glory. During this period of time, he had served him loyally. Moreover, the reason why he was targeted by Shadow Dragon was mainly because his identity in the real world had been exposed. The process of his identity being exposed was more or less related to him. If he abandoned him just because the enemy was tyrannical, he felt uneasy. Give me information on Dragon Shadow. I want to know where he is. Heaven's Inquisition looked at Xing Hui with some surprise. Your Excellency Pak Hui, it's not impossible for you to want information on Dragon Shadow. Dragon Shadow is a son of chaos whose identity has been exposed long ago. But you're not thinking of going to rescue His Excellency Blazing Glory, are you? As far as I know, your true cultivation is only at the awakening realm. Rashly going to rescue him is just courting death. I have a suggestion for Your Excellency Pak Hui to consider. Please speak. If Your Excellency Pak Hui still has a Dao item, happen to know a friend, everything else aside, it's not difficult to save Your Excellency Blazing Glory for Your Excellency Pak Hui. Moreover, the fee is not high. At this point, Heaven's Inquisition's lips curled into a friendly smile. Information on Dragon Shadow and a rescue mission. How about 2 points of Dao? Chapter 141. Taoist Aura Value. Depending on the person, it could be sold at different prices. In a small place like the Cloud Wilderness, a little bit of Taoist attainments could be exchanged for level 4 or 5 divine weapons and armors. But in the Infinite Barren region, divine weapons that were below level 6 or 7 were not even worth thinking about. Those who were in desperate need of Taoist attainments would often ask for level 8 or even level 9 divine weapons. It was precisely because of the different prices in different places that there were many rank 25 Sons of Chaos who purposely projected their avatars to the continents where the cultivation system wasn't very developed. They could easily obtain Dao carrying items through all kinds of sacred texts and even divine texts. This was how the sacred books and divine books of the 10 great sacred sects came about. Other than that, there were also merchants who had not reached level 25 but were extremely reputable. They would purposely bring large amounts of level 4, level 5, and level 6 weapons to the underdeveloped continents. After a round of trading, they would obtain many Taoist items and sell them to the Infinite Wilderness at a high price to make up for the difference. To save a person from an expert who was at the pinnacle of the unity of God and Qi stage, the price was 2 Taoist auras. Even in the Cloud Wilderness, this price was considered high. For cultivators who desperately needed Taoist items, a little Taoist aura could even buy the life of a green netherworld realm expert. However, sure. But you have to save the person first. I believe that with the intelligence of the Mystery Pavilion, I won't go back on my word. Of course. Heaven's Inquisition had a confident smile on his face. The Mystery Pavilion has spies all over the Cloud Wilderness, even overseas. Even in other continents, the headquarters of the Mystery Pavilion is still there. Therefore, unless Her Excellency Pak Hui can stand the loneliness and never appear in a place with people again, we will be able to find her. Be quick. I don't want her to be crippled by the time we save her. 3 days will be enough. All right, contact me after she is saved. I will tell you how to get the Taoist item that I left behind. Her Excellency Pak Hui is very cautious. I will do as you said. Heaven's Inquisition agreed. The Mystery Pavilion's intelligence network was all-pervasive. Naturally, they were not afraid that Xing Hui would go back on his word. After the deal, Xing Hui left the Chaos Temple. Blazing Glory, this is all I can do for you. Xing Hui murmured. Unfortunately, the bronze statue had been in his possession for less than a month, and he was about to lose it again. This made Xing Hui feel that it was a pity. Qing Su obviously trusted the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion's reputation, so he had paid a visit to the Cloud Desolate Mountain Range a long time ago. He buried the bronze statue in a prominent location in the Cloud Desolate Mountain Range. The next step was to wait patiently. 3 days was not a long time. Very quickly, Xing Hui received the news that Blazing Glory had been rescued and returned to the Cloud Desolate Mountain Range. Xing Hui did not dare to hesitate. Considering that he would return to the dragon-slaying island directly after receiving the Blazing Glory to ensure his safety, he immediately gathered everyone from the dragon-slaying island and boarded the battleship, heading towards the Yunhuang mountain range. Because the people from Dragon Chant Island had already been sent to Zhan Long Island, there were not many people on the warship. Other than a spirit-refining realm cultivator and dozens of True Chi realm and awakening realm guards, there were less than 100 warship pilots. The warship seemed quite empty. However, in less than half an hour after the warship took off, a bird at the end of the horizon caught Sing Hui's attention. Birds were not strange. Even ferocious beasts would occasionally visit the Luo Lin kingdom. However, the key point was that the bird had been maintaining a uniform speed and distance with them, which made him quite surprised. Someone is watching us? Suddenly, Sing Hui realized something and his face changed. Chasing sun? Thinking of this, he was about to abandon the warship and leave on his sword. The warship's flying speed was slow and the target was huge. It was not as agile as flying on a sword. However, just as Sing Hui was about to call the spirit-refining realm commander who had joined him and was about to instruct him, a terrifying and blazing heat suddenly erupted from the interior of the warship. In the next moment, a mighty torrent of destruction spread out with an unprecedented explosion, engulfing the entire warship, including Sing Hui eternal blazing sun. At the end of the sky dozens of kilometers away from the battleship, on a bird that was only at the level of a dire beast, a rather disheveled woman looked at the dazzling light of destruction with a crazed expression, her eyes full of malevolence. Cho Tsing Hui, it's all your fault that I, by you, ended up like this. You forced me to do this. Go to hell. I took the risk of exposing myself to follow you here just to see you being turned into ashes by the eternal blazing sun with my own eyes. On the back of the bird, by you cursed viciously. Eternal blazing sun. This was a semi-finished product of the Jin Wu religion, the eternal blazing sun. Even though it was only a semi-finished product, its might wasn't inferior to the full force strike of a green hell realm expert, and this was obvious from how Lai Weong had relied on this treasure to blast the Dark Nether Isles master, who was at the Unison realm, into nothingness. When Baiyu learned that Sing Hui had flattened the Dragon Whale Island and replaced the Dragon Whale Island's lord as its new overlord, she knew that she was finished. The news of the Black Hole Sutra must have already reached Qing Su's ears. If Qing Su reported this matter to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the punishment department would make him face a life and death situation. The pressure of death had driven Baiyu to the brink of insanity. She had stolen the first 4 layers of the Black Hole Sutra from the Sky Origin Peak Master and made a deal with a high-ranking member of the Jin Wu religion to obtain an eternal blazing Sunday. This was the reason for the current situation. But from now on, I can only live in exile overseas, in constant peril. But Cho Tsing Hui, you must die. Baiyu cursed crazily. Her crazed screams only lasted for a few moments before the expression in her eyes froze. At the center of the destructive torrent of explosions, a golden crow suddenly appeared. Its wingspan spanned 10 meters as it frantically devoured and neutralized the endless power of the eternal blazing Sunday. The eternal blazing sun was formed by the Jin Wu religion's high-ranking members using the Great Sun Golden Crow art as the foundation and drawing the blazing true fire from the sun above their heads. Its foundation was the power of the Great Sun, but compared to the essence of the Great Sun, it was 10 times or even 100 times more violent and violent. However, due to the characteristics of this energy, those who cultivated the Great Sun Golden Crow art had an extremely strong resistance to it. In addition, Baiyu had only summoned a semi-finished Eternal Blazing Sunday. When the Eternal Blazing Sun exploded, Sing Hui relied on his newly cultivated Golden Crow aura to survive. Although the Eternal Blazing Sun's explosion had almost completely destroyed his body, it did not directly kill him. Feeling his body rapidly melting under the Eternal Blazing Sun's explosion, Sing Hui did not hesitate. He directly used the chaos level he had just raised yesterday on the recovery characteristic. At this moment, the path of the future was no longer important. Whether it was an immortal body or a Tao comprehender, it was nothing compared to his life hanging by a thread. He had to live. Buzz buzz. The recovery characteristic of the level 4 rose to the level 5 in an instant. The level 5 was a crucial stage for any characteristic of a Son of Chaos. At this stage, the characteristic would undergo the first round of mutation. For example, The level 5 personal space could be carried around, the appraisal skill could be used to appraise other people's cultivation techniques, the resurrection skill could be used to resurrect groups, the divine protection skill was no longer limited to refining weapons and pills, and so on. The recovery characteristic was the same. A powerful vitality erupted as Tsing Hui raised the recovery characteristic to the level 5, constantly neutralizing the destructive power of the eternal blazing sun's explosion. This allowed him to preserve his life even when he was on the verge of being annihilated. Then his aura erupted, and his sword intent soared. The sword light of the Qingxian sword blasted out from the eternal blazing sun's domain of destruction. Bam! The blazing golden light whizzed out faster than the shockwave from the eternal blazing sun's explosion. When Tsing Hui charged out of the range of the eternal blazing sun's explosion, his entire body was a bloody mess. He no longer resembled a human, looking like a demon that had walked out of the fiery hell. It was enough to give a timid person nightmares every night. Meanwhile, Jasper, who was riding on a bird in the distance, let out a mournful and unwilling roar when she saw this scene. No! The next moment, she urged the ferocious beast under her and charged toward Tsing Hui. A flying sword had an advantage over a ferocious beast's speed. She had no hope of escaping. She knew very well that Tsing Hui was unprecedentedly weak, and this was the best opportunity to kill him. If she missed it, she would have no more hope in this lifetime. Die for me! Jasper roared as she rode her ferocious beast. In the blink of an eye, she had traveled more than 10 kilometers between them. Tsing Hui's eyes seethed with killing intent. Except for him, the entire warship was destroyed by Jasper's eternal blazing sunday. Although he did not have any relatives or friends on this warship, there were many spirit refining, true chi, awakening, and even ordinary people who could be counted as his subordinates. Because of his identity as the island master of Dragon Slayer Island, they sought refuge with him, but they were all killed by Jasper's eternal blazing sunday. Not a single one was left. When he thought of how Baiyu had relentlessly pursued him and even raised her butcher's knife against everyone related to him, he, who was originally seriously injured, should have quickly gone to treat his wounds. Instead, he changed his direction and went straight for Baiyu, who was rushing over on her flying beast. Cho Tsing Hui. When the distance between the two was less than 1 kilometer, Jasper roared with resentment. But at this moment, Tsing Hui made his move. His injuries were so serious that his body was on the verge of collapse. He did not have the qualifications to fight a spirit-refining cultivator. But don't forget, this was the void. The void that was thousands of meters high. Xiao! The next moment, Tsing Hui lost his footing and fell straight to the ground. At the same time, the sword radiance of the Qingxian sword shot out like a shooting star. It directly pierced through the body of the huge bird below Jasper, bringing along with it dark red blood. No! In Jasper's unwilling scream, the number of people falling from 1 to 2. Chapter 142. Cho Tsing Hui, fight me to the death if you have the guts? The enmity between us arose because of Long Quan, and the reason why Long Quan ended up like this was all because of your indulgence. You're the main culprit behind his death. Now, let me take revenge for Long Quan and completely end this laughable farce of enmity. Tsing Hui's eyes were as cold as winter. After killing the flying beast that could not dodge in time, the Qingxian sword turned and landed at Tsing Hui's feet again, supporting Tsing Hui's body. I hate you. I hate you so much. In order to kill you, you gave up everything, but why are you still not dead? If you don't die, I won't be satisfied. Tsing Hui stood on his sword with a cold expression. He looked down at Jasper, who was screaming crazily, and let her fall. I won't be satisfied. Following Jasper's last scream, her body fell heavily to the ground, instantly turning into a pool of blood. Tsing Hui slowly landed on the ground. Looking at Jasper, who no longer had a human form, there was no sympathy in his eyes. This kind of person who never reflected on her own mistakes deserved to die. Seeing that his injuries were still serious, he did not care about anything else and quickly took out healing elixirs from his personal space to treat his injuries. Although the recovery characteristic had an excellent recovery effect, its source of energy still came from the life essence stored in his body. If he could ensure that his body was full of life essence, the recovery rate would be faster. If he lacked life essence, even if his injuries healed, there would be a period of weakness. After a long time, Tsing Hui opened his eyes. His injuries were extremely serious. If not for the Golden Crow's aura's amazing resistance to the eternal blazing sun, he would have died without a doubt even if his cultivation was one realm higher. However, the recovery characteristic of the 5th level was unbelievably powerful. If he was at the Tier 4 stage, he would need at least 1 or 2 days to recover from this kind of injury. Moreover, he would also be weakened for 1 or 2 days, and it would take 3 or 4 days for him to fully recover. However, the recovery ability of the Tier 5 stage reduced the recovery time from 1 or 2 days to half a day. Although the feeling of weakness in his body had not completely disappeared, he was gradually recovering due to the elixirs he had taken to replenish his qi and blood. At this rate, he would be able to fully recover from the injuries he had sustained from resisting the eternal blazing sun for a day and a night. It's almost time to meet Tianwen. Tsing Hui temporarily stopped cultivating and was about to get up and leave. However, just as he was about to leave, something on Bai Yu's corpse caught his attention. Tsing Hui took a step forward and quickly took out an item from Jasper's corpse. It was a deep black pearl. This orb was similar to a pearl, but compared to a pearl, this orb had a whirlpool that was slowly rotating. The whirlpool seemed to have a mysterious power, and one could tell at a glance that it was definitely not an ordinary item. Tsing Hui muttered to himself for a while. Then, he sent a wisp of his consciousness into the black pearl. As he sent his consciousness into the black pearl, he seemed to have arrived at an ocean filled with black clouds. This ocean was more majestic than any ocean surface he had seen overseas. Countless surging waves surged from the ocean, setting off tsunamis that were hundreds of meters or even thousands of meters tall. A large number of lightning bolts flashed wildly on the surface of the ocean. When Tsing Hui's consciousness was attracted by the ocean, a gigantic dragon whale beast that looked like a moving continent suddenly leaped out from the surging sea. Its huge body brought with it endless waves that splashed in all directions, causing even more terrifying tsunamis to form on the surface of the ocean. Waves that could be said to be at the level of destruction swept wildly in all directions, causing people to tremble and shock from the depths of their souls. As soon as it left the surface of the ocean, this terrifying gigantic beast that was thousands of kilometers long, like a continent, quickly transformed from a whale to a rock. Its wings covered the sky like a dark cloud that completely covered the void above its head. Looking at this terrifying gigantic beast that was filled with an ancient aura, Tsing Hui could not help but think of a name. Kuanpeng. Divine Beast Kuanpeng. Rumble. In the next moment, the world shook, and the sun and moon were reversed. The gigantic beast with a wingspan of thousands of kilometers suddenly flapped its wings, and endless storms swept out in all directions. Like a hurricane of destruction, they set off giant waves that were tens of thousands of meters tall on the surface of the ocean. The entire sky seemed to be torn apart by the flapping of its wings. The mighty, magnificent, majestic, and imposing aura crazily attacked Tsing Hui's nerves, leaving an unprecedented spiritual mark on Tsing Hui that reached the depths of his soul. The scene stopped there. Tsing Hui's consciousness unknowingly withdrew from the black pearl. As he returned to his senses, a technique appeared in his mind. After a brief taste, Tsing Hui's face was filled with shock. This is the first 4 layers of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's divine scripture, the Chaos Whole Sutra. The Chaos Whole Sutra, the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's supreme secret technique. In the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, only the most core members or genius disciples with a reliable background who had awakened the Kuanping bloodline had the qualifications to come into contact with it. She, Bai Yu, was a mere spirit-refining disciple, and it was already her limit to read the awakening chapter of the Chaos Whole Sutra. What qualifications did she have to obtain the first 4 layers of the Chaos Whole Sutra? This was illogical. The Black Hole Sutra has an unbelievable advantage when it comes to controlling space. Although it's too early for an immortal level to mention space, Its understanding of space is extraordinary. If I can master it, even without the Kuan-Peng bloodline, it'll give me a great advantage in movement techniques. Xing Hui ignored everything else and quickly put away the Chaos Hole Sutra. Such a treasure could not be leaked. Otherwise, if the Hunyuan Heaven sect found out, it was very likely that they would send Immortal Stage 6 or even Saint Stage experts to hunt him down. Glancing at Jasper's corpse, he immediately unleashed a wisp of golden crow true qi. The true qi transformed into flames and burned in an instant. Before long, Jasper's deformed corpse was burned to ashes, completely erasing all traces of her existence in this world. After doing all this, Xing Hui once again rose on his sword and flew towards the desolate Cloud Mountain range. Nothing else happened along the way. 4 hours later, Xing Hui arrived at the agreed location with Tianwen. He focused all his attention and carefully inspected the agreed location. After confirming that there were no abnormalities, he rushed to Yan Huang's location. Yan Huang was sitting cross-legged on a flat rock, recuperating from his injuries. From his current miserable appearance, it was not difficult to see that he must have suffered greatly over the past few days. Swish! Xing Hui's figure leapt and landed in front of Yan Huang. Only when Qing Su arrived 10 meters away from Yan Huang did he open his eyes in hindsight. He called out weakly, "Who is it?" After clearly seeing Xing Hui's gaze, Yan Huang stood up, trembling all over. He endured the pain and weakness in his body and knelt on the ground. "Greetings, young master." Yan Huang thanks young master for saving my life. "You've suffered," Xing Hui said solemnly. His gaze swept across Yan Huang's body and slightly sunk. "Your cultivation, my qi has been crippled." Yan Huang's face revealed a trace of bitterness. "To cultivate again, it would take at least 8 to 10 years. That's not a problem. After all, you still have the foundation of a spirit refining realm. As long as you have enough resources, a year or even half a year would be enough for you to return to spirit refining. You suffered because of me. I will not treat you unfairly." Xing Hui's words made Yan Huang feel even more guilty, but young master wanted me to go to 100 Seas City to trade those peerless grade fire spirit stones, but they were all taken away by those bastards. It's all my fault for not opening up my personal space. If I did, I would have hidden those fire spirit stones in my personal space. Unless I die, they would not be able to take them away. It's good that you came back alive. Xing Hui knew that this matter could not be blamed on Yan Huang. Being targeted by a spirit and Qi Unity Realm Son of Chaos, anyone would have to admit that they were unlucky. This matter will not end like this. One day, we will make them pay the price. Yan Huang looked at Xing Hui and hesitated for a moment, but still said, "Young master, at that time, other than the trader of Dawn, Dragon Shadow, there was another person who attacked me even though her appearance was somewhat similar to when she was in the Primal Chaos Shrine, but she was quite similar to the leader of Dawn, Ling Yu. Ling Yu's appearance flashed across Xing Hui's mind. His impression of this leader of Dawn was not bad. However, he would not doubt Yan Huang's words. If the one who attacked you was really Ling Yu, she actually walked together with Dragon Shadow. Then, this matter has become somewhat thought-provoking. Blazing Glory nodded solemnly. If I'm not wrong, Dawn might be a dark organization formed by Feather Moon to attract the Sons of Chaos to join and then hunt them down. Dragon Shadow's betrayal a few years ago might have been a self-directed act by Ling Yu and him. Their goal was to capture a large number of Sons of Chaos alive, torture them, and force them to reveal the Primal Chaos incantation, then sell it. You must know that in the Eastern Wastelands, a second stage Son of Chaos is usually worth the price of a 4th or 5th stage divine weapon, not to mention 4th, 6th, and 8th stage Sons of Chaos. Hunting Sons of Chaos is definitely one of the most profitable transactions. Xing Hui nodded. When he had just entered Dawn, he had used appraisal to check Ling Yu's strength. At that time, she had already reached the peak of the Spirit and Qi Unity realm. Furthermore, she was a 10th stage Son of Chaos. "Young master, how did you know that I was in an accident and rescue me?" "I was being interrogated by Dragon Shadow about the Primal Chaos incantation. He even pierced my spirit to prevent me from leaking the information, so I couldn't enter the Chaos Temple at all. I found it strange that you didn't return for a few days, so I asked Heaven's Inquisition to investigate. Only then did I understand the whole story. At this point, Sing Hui's expression changed slightly. Heaven's Inquisition is also a member of Dawn. Could he also be involved with Lingyu? Not necessarily. The Divine Secret Pavilion is an organization that specializes in selling information. Information is their foundation. There are many members of the Divine Secret Pavilion like Heaven's Inquisition in both the Chaos Temple and the 10 Sacred Sects. Some of the higher-ups of the 10 Sacred Sects actually have their names in the Divine Secret Pavilion. From time to time, they would sell useful or useless information in exchange for some daily necessities. It's just that they aren't official disciples of the Divine Secret Pavilion. No matter what, the inland isn't safe enough. We should leave as soon as possible. Once we're overseas, I'll need to open up an area where sea monsters reside and set up a usable trap. That way, if a peak immortal level powerhouse really comes, I can lure them into the territory of the overlords of the sea to seek survival. It's all up to you, young master. Sing Hui immediately took Yen Huang with him on his sword and headed overseas. Although Yen Huang had been rescued, it was a pity that he had lost all of his vital energy, causing him to lose a right-hand man that he could rely on. Chapter 143. In the process of returning to the mainland, Sing Hui more or less understood why those spirit and Chi Unity Realm cultivators did not dare to rashly step into the mainland. In the mainland, those who had reached the spirit and Chi Unity Realm were all big shots. At the very least, they would be able to oversee an island and become an overlord. But in the mainland, the 10 great saint sects controlled all the big and small sects, forces, and countries in the inland. They divided the land and resources cleanly. Unfortunately, each of the 10 great saint sects was incomparably powerful. Not to mention the unity of spirit and chi experts in each sect, they even had a few dozen hall masters and law kings in the blue netherworld realm. Moreover, they sat on a large amount of resources, cultivated top-notch techniques, and wielded high-grade divine weapons. They were far superior to cultivators in the same realm as them. Under such circumstances, those unity of spirit and chi experts would find it difficult to move forward when they stepped into the inland. Over time, they simply stopped coming. This resulted in a situation where other than the 10 great sacred sects, there were almost no loose cultivators of the spirit and chi unity realm. The consumption of imperial sword flight was too great. When Sing Hui was about to leave the mainland, he bought a large flying beast. Although riding a large flying beast was still unavoidable, at least he did not have to constantly stop and walk. As for warships, the resources of warships in the mainland were almost completely monopolized by the 10 great sacred sections. Occasionally, the forces that owned warships had strong backgrounds and were reported to the 10 great sacred sections. It was impossible to trade them. Sing Hui was not willing to cause any more trouble. While riding a flying beast was more comfortable, he also found Nalan Fei through the Primal Chaos Shrine. Once he entered Nalan Fei's personal space, Nalan Fei immediately stood up. "I am very sorry about the matter with Sir Blazing Glory. I did not expect that Mr. Qian, who had traded with me for more than 10 years, would have evil intentions. This kind of thing cannot be avoided." Sing Hui shook his head. Nalan Fei had also lost a loyal and devoted Bailanxing. As Nalan Fei advanced to the spirit-refining realm, the number of true chi cultivators seeking refuge would slowly increase, and there would even be some spirit-refining cultivators who would take the initiative to join them. However, a loyal and devoted true chi cultivator would be more useful than a newly recruited spirit-refining cultivator. "Have you found out who did it? Do you need my help?" "Yes, but I will personally deal with this matter when the time comes. I have already gone overseas, and the inland is not safe for me." "What happened?" "My identity as the Son of Chaos has been discovered by Sunchasur. Furthermore, I used a sacred technique in front of him." Divine art. Nalan Fei's expression immediately turned serious. "He knows that you're a Son of Chaos above level 10? A Son of Primal Chaos who is at least level 10, and who doesn't have any backing is too tempting for Divine Chi Unity experts like them. It's a heavenly opportunity. It's good that you're heading overseas. Otherwise, Elder Juri wouldn't dare to let you off if you stayed in the continent. Now that you're heading overseas, he wouldn't dare to pursue you even though he's only at the divine Chi Unity realm. Sing Hui nodded. He naturally understood this. After pondering for a moment, he decided to talk about the Black Hole Sutra. Apart from Elder Juri's threat, there's also Bai Yu. Not long ago, when I was planning to leave the inland, the battleship I was on was attacked by Bai Yu. She placed an eternal blazing sun on my battleship. Eternal blazing sun. The Jin Wu religion's eternal blazing sun. Nayland Fei's expression immediately turned serious. It was only when she saw that Sing Hui was still standing in front of her that she thought of something. She sighed in relief. It's good that you're fine. Although I'm fine, none of the 200 people on that battleship who belonged to Dragon-Slaying Island survived. Since we've stepped into the world of cultivation, how can we not be precarious before we truly reach the peak? Nayland Fei sighed. After a moment, she said curiously, the eternal blazing sun is a strategic resource of the Jin Wu religion. It's specifically used to intimidate the saint experts of the Create Evolve Mysterious Sect, Shenshao Sword Sect, Wuji Sword Sect, Hunyuan Heaven Sect, and other forces. If dozens of eternal blazing suns were to explode at the same time, even a saint expert would die without a doubt. The Jin Wu religion actually sold such a strategic resource to Bai Yu, a direct disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect? What did she take out to tempt the higher-ups of the Jin Wu religion? That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about. Ching Su paused slightly when he said that. I discovered the cultivation method of the first 4 levels of the Black Hole Scripture on her. The Black Hole Sutra? This time, Nayland Fei's expression changed. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect's sacred scripture? That's right. Bai Yu is just an ordinary direct disciple. Even if she's a spirit-refining cultivator, she doesn't have the qualifications to come into contact with the Black Hole Sutra. Sky Origin Peak Master. It's Sky Origin Peak Master. It's no wonder that the Void Origin Peak Master has been so distracted recently that he ordered all the factions and followers under him to frantically search for Jasper's whereabouts. Jasper must have stolen the Black Hole Sutra from the Void Origin Peak Master. Nayland Fei immediately understood the crux of the matter. Half a year ago, Sky Origin Peak Master had some understanding of the Black Hole Sutra and specially went to the sect's Saint Pavilion to obtain a copy of the Black Hole Sutra. Although this copy isn't the main one, it's much more advanced than the enlarged version or the handwritten copy. The technique inside can simulate the divine beast Kunpeng's unstoppable momentum. Bai Yu must have stolen that copy. That's right, I saw a similar image when I flipped through it. Nayland Fei looked at Sing Hui with an incomparably serious expression. This is a big problem. You must remember not to mention this to anyone, not even your father, your sister, or your future Dao companion. Otherwise, you'll definitely invite a fatal disaster. I know what's important. You're at Dragon Elephant Island? Dragon Elephant Island is too close to the mainland. For safety's sake, you should move further east. It's best to find a way to buy a sea map and head to the outer seas. The closer you are to the outer seas, the more Overlord-class sea beasts there will be, and the safer it will be for you. Head to the outer seas? Sing Hui frowned. I've already killed Bai Yu and destroyed all traces of her. Is it really that exaggerated? It's not exaggerated at all. The Black Hole Sutra is the foundation of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. It's fine if an ordinary person cultivates it, but if an enemy sect obtains it and decodes it, it could bring disaster to the entire Hunyuan Heaven Sect. This matter concerns the future of the sect, so it's not excessive to treat it seriously. Currently, Sky Origin Peak Master has concealed this information and hasn't spread it. Once news of this leaks out, a colossus like the Hunyuan Heaven Sect will definitely go crazy. Moreover, they have a method to track down the Black Hole Sutra. Nayland Fei's gaze fell on Sing Hui. You've stored the Black Hole Sutra in your personal space, right? That's good. In short, collect a sea map of the outer seas as soon as possible. We have to leave before Sky Origin Peak Master can conceal this information. The 10 great sects are really domineering. They won't let go of anyone who's involved. Are they going to kill everyone? Tsing Hui's expression turned a little cold. Tsing Hui, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. You should know that once this matter is exposed, even Sky Origin Peak Master may face a calamity. Also, do you think that the 10 Great Sects' monopoly on high-tier cultivation techniques is a joke? You should be prepared to be hunted down by the other 9 Great Sects besides the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. These divine scriptures can fall into the hands of other sects, but they can't fall into the hands of forces outside the 10 Great Sections. I will leave the inner lands as soon as possible. I will pay attention to Sky Origin Peak Master's movements. If he can't conceal this information, I will notify you immediately. At that time, even if you don't receive a sea map of the outer seas, you will still have to take the risk and leave. Tsing Hui frowned, although he felt a little aggrieved. But in the end, he could only nod. Just as Nayland Fei said, he couldn't let his emotions affect his decisions. Right now, he didn't have the qualifications to let his emotions affect his decisions with a colossus like the 10 Great Sections. If I join Sky Dome, will Sky Dome come out and deal with this matter? Join Sky Dome? Nayland Fei was taken aback. You've cultivated astral chi? Divine grade astral chi? Tsing Hui nodded. You can join Sky Dome if you cultivate divine grade astral chi, but this matter concerns the future inheritance of a local top sect. If the primal chaos organization behind the Hunyuan Heaven Sect is willing to exert force, Sky Dome may not be willing to put pressure on the Hunyuan Heaven Sect for a newcomer like you. I'll help you ask my master. But my master has recently obtained a treasure and is currently in closed-door cultivation. It will take 10 days to half a month. Wait for my reply. When the time comes, I will also ask my master to handle your application to join Sky Dome. Thank you, Tsing Hui said and left the Primal Chaos Divine Hall for the time being. On the bird, Tsing Hui carefully recalled every detail of his encounter with Jasper. Jasper carried the Black Hole Sutra with her because she wanted to use it to kill him. Evidently, the Black Hole Sutra's awakening chapter had inspired her to come up with the worst plan. At least it was a plan to destroy both jade and common stone. That Sky Vault is still far away in the end. Unless Aunt Nayland's master is willing to help me and expend his vitality to send down a clone to intimidate the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect won't let this matter go. If he wanted to intimidate the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, he needed at least a clone with the battle prowess of a saint expert. Such a clone had to be at least at the Azure Netherworld stage. Nayland Fei's master was far away in Heaven Wasteland and sent a clone at the Azure Netherworld stage. It would most likely be in a state of chi depletion for 3 to 5 months. The other party might not agree. It seemed that he had to rely on himself. Tsing Hui pondered in silence. After a moment, Tsing Hui's eyes turned fierce. The Black Hole Sutra can't be cultivated by people outside the 10 great sacred sects? Cultivators must die? He was determined to master the shattering vacuum within 10 years. But now, if a small Hunyuan Heaven Sect could make him not dare to cultivate even though he had a top cultivation technique and was driven away to the outer seas, how could he shatter the vacuum and return to Earth like Dongqian? He wasn't a pure martial artist, but he was still a disciple of the Dongyang Sword Sect. The disciples of the Dongyang Sword Sect should have a sword heart that would never give up. Biting off more than you can chew. Originally, I had the Great Sun Golden Crow art and the Illuminating Sun Sutra, so I wasn't particularly eager to cultivate the Black Hole Sutra. But now, I really want to see what will happen even if I cultivate the Black Hole Sutra. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, his gaze fell on Yan Huang, who happened to have his cultivation crippled. Yan Huang, there is an opportunity in front of you, but it also contains great danger. If you are not careful, you will die without a complete corpse. I wonder if you have the courage to try? Chapter 144. Opportunity? As Yan Huang's cultivation had been crippled, he was rather disheartened. Hearing Tsing Hui's words, he only raised his spirits and said, "If there's an opportunity, I'll do my best to grasp it." As for dying without a complete corpse? Wealth comes from danger. How can one not pay a price to obtain an opportunity? Is that so? Remember what you said today. Sing Hui took out the black pearl with an indifferent expression. Take a look. Yen Huang took the pearl and quickly immersed his consciousness into it. This immersion lasted for half an hour. Half an hour later, Yen Huang suddenly woke up. His entire body was drenched in sweat, and his face was somewhat pale from the shock. However, his eyes shone with a terrifying light. Young master, this. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect's sacred scripture, the Chaos Whole Scripture? Sing Hui said casually. The Chaos Whole Scripture. It's really the Chaos Whole Scripture. Yen Huang's reaction was fast. He instantly understood what Sing Hui meant by danger. Without hesitation, he bowed to Sing Hui. Thank you for your generous gift, young master. I'm willing to cultivate the Chaos Whole Scripture. I won't regret it even if I die. Your cultivation has been crippled, but you still cultivated to the spirit-refining realm. The only regret is that the Luai's bloodline is different from the Kunpeng bloodline. You won't be able to unleash the true power of the Chaos Whole Scripture. It's enough. I'm willing to give it a try. Sing Hui responded. Even without the Kunpeng bloodline, the Chaos Whole Scripture, as a sacred scripture, contained various techniques that far surpassed ordinary movement techniques. The two continued forward and finally rented a battleship from a sea market thousands of miles away from the inner land. They headed to Dragon-Slaying Island. After flying for 8 days, Dragon-Slaying Island, which resembled a small continent, appeared before their eyes. Even though he had only left Dragon-Slaying Island for a few days, when Qing Su set foot on the spaceport of Dragon-Slaying Island again and saw the people of Dragon-Slaying Island who had come to greet him, he actually felt dazed. His heart gradually calmed down as well, as if this was where he truly lived. However, thinking back to when the Void Origin Peak Master's Black Hole Sutra had been stolen, he couldn't help but sigh. Welcome, Island Master. Many cultivators who were responsible for welcoming them at the spaceport shouted at the same time. These people were led by Acting City Lord Dan Tang. Sing Hui nodded at them. There's no need to be so courteous. Send them away. Dan Tang, come with me. Yes. Dan Tang glanced at the weak blazing glory behind Sing Hui, then glanced at the battleship that Sing Hui was on, which clearly did not belong to Dragon-Slaying Island. He cautiously asked, Island Lord, did you encounter some danger? I encountered an enemy who rewarded me with an eternal blazing sunday. The battleship was destroyed, but that enemy was killed by me. Eternal blazing sun. Dan Taiying's heart trembled. To them, the Jin Wu religion's eternal blazing sun was definitely a legendary item. Their island master was actually ambushed by such an item? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Go and comfort the families of the cultivators who piloted the battleship. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he turned to blazing glory behind him and said, You don't have to worry about anything else during this period. Cultivate well and take care of the Chaos Temple at the same time. Go. After Tsing Hui let blazing glory leave, he turned to Dan Taiying and said, Does Dragon-Slaying Island have a sea map of the Outer Sea? Outer Sea? Dan Taiying was slightly startled and hurriedly said, The area near the Outer Sea contains endless dangers. Our Dragon-Slaying Island is less than 40,000 kilometers inland, but there are already some rank 6 sea overlords nearby. From time to time, there will be rank 7 sea beasts that are equivalent to Saint Realm experts. The closer we are to the Outer Sea, the more terrifying sea beasts there are. If we are within 80 to 90,000 kilometers inland, rank 3 and rank 4 sea beasts will become commonplace, and there will also be many rank 5 and rank 6 sea beasts. As for the sea overlords and lords, without exception, they are all rank 7 or even rank 8 sea beasts. Other than those big shots on the Divine Dragon ranking, very few people dare to explore those areas. The Dragon Whale Island Lord can be considered an overlord within 40,000 kilometers, but he still doesn't have the courage to enter those dangerous areas. Do you have a map of the sea overlords near the Dragon Whale Island? Yes, I will bring it to young master, Dan Taiying said and quickly retreated. The map of the sea overlords was usually the top secret of these large islands. It should be known that the reason why the overseas forces could resist the encirclement of the 10 great saint sects was because of these sea overlords. Because they understood the habits of these sea overlords and knew their distribution, they could lead the experts of the 10 great saint sects into the sea overlords' traps time and time again, and then be hunted down by the sea overlords. However, once the map of the sea overlords was spread out, the people of the 10 great saint sects would be prepared, and this trump card would lose its effectiveness. No matter how vast the overseas region was, it could still be completely annihilated by the 10 great saint sects. Therefore, such a treasure could only be held by the island lord and a few others. This was also the reason why Dan Tying didn't dare to order his subordinates to go over and had to go get it himself. Island lord, please take a look. This is the information of the sea overlords that our dragon-slaying island has, as well as some shared information of the sea overlords. Dan Tying carefully handed over a map. This map was the reason why the overseas islands were able to survive under the oppression of the 10 great saint sects. Xing Hui took the map. The map only covered a radius of 10,000 kilometers in detail, and the rest were a little intermittent. Although there wasn't much information recorded and the information wasn't very detailed, the number of sea overlords on the map was still shocking. 22 rank 5 overlords, 19 rank 6 overlords, and 3 rank 7 overlords of the Saint Realm? Yes, all the overlords in this area are basically on the map. Even if there are some missing, there won't be more than 5 of them. Ching Su's gaze searched for a while, and it soon landed on the area where the 3 saint overlords were. As Xing Hui flipped open the book that came with the map, the information of one of the overlords of the Saint Realm appeared before his eyes. Xuanwu, rank 7 Xuanwu. This overlord of the sea should be the elder sister that the Xuanwu cub mentioned, who was suspected to have died on the battlefield in the open sea. The overlord of this vast sea was a rank 5 Juing. Furthermore, it could be a Juing that had transformed into a saint beast. Of course, as a Saint Xuanwu, it definitely had more than one rank 5 dire beast under it. It was just that the Juing was more powerful. After the Xuanwu cub was driven away, this area of the sea had obviously become chaotic, and there was no end to the war. This could be seen from the frequent eruptions of the underwater volcanoes. Although the overlords of the sea are powerful, as long as they haven't reached the level of a saint beast, their intelligence is usually not high. In addition, during the Divine Wilderness, humans hunted the sea beasts crazily, causing them to have a deep-rooted hatred for us humans. With a little bit of use, they would relentlessly hunt down humans who trespassed on their territory. Back then, the Dragon Whale Island Lord had a great enemy of the Blue Netherworld realm, but he stole the egg of the Ice Snake Overlord and threw it at the Blue Netherworld realm powerhouse. In the end, the Ice Snake Overlord chased the Blue Netherworld realm powerhouse for 3,000 kilometers and swallowed him whole. Xing Hui knew that the Ice Snake Overlord was a rank 6 overlord not far from the dragon-slaying island. Dan Tying stepped forward and marked the 6 rank 5 and 4 rank 6 overlords of the sea. He said, "If the island lord needs it, these 10 overlords of the sea can be used by us. Rank 5 and rank 6 overlords of the sea are not enough. I need the help of a saint overlord of the sea. This Kuan whale's movement is slow, so let's put it aside for now. As for this deep freeze squid, it seems to be easily attracted by the blood of the myriad spirit beast. Go and prepare some blood of the myriad spirit beast. The blood of the myriad spirit beast is expensive. I'm afraid." Dan Tying was a little puzzled. "We know the movements and habits of these 10 overlords of the sea. If an immortal realm level 6 powerhouse comes, we have room to deal with it. Why, just go and prepare, the price is not a problem." Dan Tying respectfully left. Deep freeze squid. Rank 7 sea beast. Using the sea beasts to kill people is ultimately a bad idea. Once the sea beasts are full of food or are delayed by other matters, they will immediately be in danger. One's own strength is the foundation. Xing Hui's gaze fell on the remaining Great Sun essence. Breaking through to the Spirit Refining Realm took 2 Great Sun essences. Spirit Refining Realm and True Qi Realm were different. Condensing Earth Qi required more True Qi. As for the remaining Great Sun essence, even with the help of the Phoenix Feather, it would still be difficult for him to reach the small success of the Spirit Refining Realm. Unfortunately, the dozens of fire spirit crystals that should have been in his hands were lost because of Dragon Shadow's interference. Otherwise, with the help of these fire spirit crystals, he might be able to reach the small success of the Earth Chi within 2 months. 10 days passed in a blink of an eye. The last great sun essence had been refined by Tsing Hui. However, just as Tsing Hui had deduced, it was still a step away from reaching the small success of the Earth Chi. I have to make a trip to Longxiang Island. Even if I can't get the fire spirit crystals, I can get some fire attribute extreme grade spirit stones. As long as I have 3,000 to 5,000 extreme grade fire spirit stones and spend a few months polishing my Earth Chi, I should be able to reach the small success of the Earth Chi. Tsing Hui made up his mind. With a flash of his mind, he appeared in the Primal Chaos Temple. The day he entered was the day he and Nalan Fei agreed to enter Sky Dome. As for the Jdan organization, the Primal Chaos Temple did not restrict one from joining a Primal Chaos organization. It all depended on the organization's rules. Moreover, after knowing that the one who ambushed Blazing Glory was most likely the leader of Dawn, Ling Yu, he naturally did not want to stay. "Pak Hui, you're here?" As Tsing Hui stepped into Nalan Fei's personal space, Nalan Fei immediately stood up. Tsing Hui nodded at her, then his eyes fell on a woman behind her in a purple robe, who had an ethereal aura. "This is my master, Purple Sky Enlightened Master, one of the core members of Sky Dome. Greetings, Purple Sky Enlightened Master. Congratulations, Your Excellency Pak Hui, for being able to cultivate divine-grade Earth Chi. However, since Your Excellency Pak Hui wants to join Sky Dome, to ensure the authenticity, I have to descend and meet Your Excellency Pak Hui. Therefore, I need to leave a spiritual imprint on you to confirm your location." Chapter 145. Tsing Hui had already learned about the standards of the Celestial Vault from Nalan Fei. He nodded slightly and released a wisp of spiritual force to form an imprint. "I await your arrival, Purple Sky Enlightened Master." The Purple Sky Enlightened Master sensed Tsing Hui's spiritual imprint carefully. "Please wait a moment." About half an hour later, she opened her eyes again. "Your Excellency Pak Hui, I'm heading over." Almost at the same time, a mysterious force suddenly descended from the sky in the courtyard of the City Lord's mansion. It swept through the heaven and earth Yuan Qi and began to condense into a human form in the courtyard. Not long after, it was 80% similar to the Purple Sky Enlightened Master in the Chaos Temple, but it was obvious that it was an incarnation that was gradually taking shape. Although the Eastern Wilderness isn't the furthest continent from the Infinite Wilderness, it's still tens of millions of miles away. The incarnation isn't condensed enough. The Purple Sky Enlightened Master moved a little after descending. Tsing Hui nodded slightly at the Purple Sky Enlightened Master. He had once made a deal with Sword Master Bai Heng. Both of them were incarnations, but compared to Sword Master Bai Heng, the Purple Sky Enlightened Master's incarnation was clearly much weaker. Even the spiritual pressure she exerted on him was no exception. "This incarnation of mine is only at the 2nd level of the Immortality Realm, but I'm still at the 5th level of the Saint Realm. At the 2nd level of the Immortality Realm, it's enough to fight against more than 90% of Spirit Refining Realm cultivators. Your Excellency Pak Hui, let me see the power of your divine-grade Gang Qi." "Excuse me," Tsing Hui said. He easily drew out a 3rd-level divine sword. In the next moment, blazing golden crow Qi erupted from the sword's edge and condensed into Gang Qi. The terrifying heat caused the void to distort. Before it even got close, the incarnation of the Purple Sky Enlightened Master was already on the verge of collapse. However, the Purple Sky Enlightened Master was still a big shot at the 5th level of the Saint Realm. His spiritual power was many times stronger than Tsing Hui's. He easily suppressed the incarnation that was on the verge of collapse. At the same time, he clenched his hand, and a sharp sword condensed from energy formed. He slashed it down, and the two energies collided fiercely in the void. Buzz! A ripple visible to the naked eye spread out. The collision of the two energies did not dissipate any energy. It was like the scorching sun and ice and snow melting. In the end, the powerful Golden Crow Chi only managed to defeat the Purple Sky Enlightened Master's Chi with a slight advantage. The Gang Chi's scorching aura of Chi dissipated could not harm the incarnation of the incarnation. It's actually the Gold Crow Zhen Chi. It's so ferocious and domineering. I've underestimated it, so much so that I couldn't precisely control all my energy. Reverend Purple Xiao waved her hand again, and the aftermath of the dispersing Golden Crow vital energy was also eliminated by her. You're qualified to join Sky Dome. I'll fill out the application form for you later. When Reverend Purple Sky reached this point, he looked at Qing Su and said, although your true Qi can be condensed into Gang Qi, both of them are too scattered. As a result, you can't even unleash 30% of your true Qi's power. Gang Qi should be able to crush true Qi easily, but when your Gang Qi condensed from the Golden Crow's true Qi collided with my ordinary true Qi, it didn't gain much of an advantage. In the end, it's because your control and utilization of true Qi is too low. Utilization efficiency? That's right. It's just like how an iron sword can penetrate an iron plate even though it's made of iron. If you can precisely control every bit of your true Qi and accurately understand the target's weakness, you'll be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. The Purple Sky Enlightened Master smiled. Among the 6 realms of saints, the first is Qi, the second is Qi, the third is Qi, the third is ceaseless, the fourth is Jindan, the fifth is magical ability, and the 6th is Dharma image. The second realm of transformation requires you to control your own power to the extreme, to the point of being able to exert 20% of your Qi's power. Controlling your Qi to the smallest detail is an essential ability to step into the realm of transformation. Large sects often attach great importance to this issue and consciously guide their disciples from the Qi realm. Although you're only in the spirit refining realm, it's not too late to pay attention to it now. Otherwise, once you get used to it and step into the realm of spirit and Qi unity, you'll need to exert several times more perseverance to correct it. Xing Hui was slightly startled. After a moment, he understood the Purple Sky Enlightened Master's good intentions. He immediately said, "Thank you for your guidance. Since you've entered my Heaven's Dome, you're naturally a member of my Heaven's Dome. In addition to your relationship with Qingyu, there's no harm in asking me some small questions." "Yes?" Xing Hui responded. Seeing that the Purple Sky Enlightened Master was about to leave, he hurriedly asked, "I heard from you just now that there are 6 realms for a saint. The first is true essence, the second is transformative state, the third is ceaseless state, the fourth is golden core, the fifth is divine ability, and the 6th is Dharma image. But I've read in an ancient book that there are also sword momentum, domain, and vacuum shattering. What realms are these?" "Oh, you actually know about sword momentum, domain, and vacuum shattering? It seems to be information passed down from the ancient times of the divine wilderness." The Purple Sky Enlightened Master paused for a moment. With the destruction of the divine wilderness and the scarcity of resources, it's extremely difficult to cultivate the realms above the Saint Realm. Fortunately, there are many treasures in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion, so the realms above the Saint Realm haven't been reduced to legends. There are many books with similar information. The sword momentum you speak of is actually a high-level form of sword intent. Just like how there's initial success, great success, and consummation of true Qi and Gang Qi, sword intent is the same. If there's a breakthrough after consummation of sword intent, there's sword momentum. If there's a breakthrough after consummation of sword intent, there's sword momentum. What about domain and vacuum shattering? Xing Hui had a vague feeling that things were going to get worse. Vacuum shattering. It seemed to be far from as simple as he had imagined. Dharma Idol is the final realm among the 6 realms of the Saint Realm. Above Dharma Idol is the brand new world known as the Divine Realm. The first realm is the Domain Realm. A cultivator condenses a domain, and their every move and word has immeasurable power. As for vacuum shattering, it's often used to describe a cultivator's unimaginably powerful strength. I don't know what realm it is. Perhaps I know too little about the 6 realms of the Divine Realm. Xing Hui's figure trembled slightly, and his face turned somewhat pale. Vacuum shattering. Although he didn't know whether it represented a form of power or a realm of cultivation, the domain realm was the first realm of the divine realm above the saint realm. Dongqian took 300 years to form the domain and 1,000 years to shatter the vacuum. Just from this point alone, one could tell how difficult cultivation was. The time he took to reach vacuum shattering was more than 3 times the time it took to go from the first mortal realm to the first divine realm. Now, nearly 2 years had passed since he set the time limit for himself, but he was still miles away from the domain realm. There were only 8 years left. How could he cultivate vacuum shattering? How could he return to Earth without vacuum shattering? Really, could he only pin his hopes on the teleportation technique bestowed by the Chaos Temple? Pakui? Seeing Tsing Hui's abnormal expression, the Purple Sky Enlightened Master called out. Tsing Hui came back to his senses and realized that the Purple Sky Enlightened Master was still there. He forced himself to return to normal. Sorry to have kept you waiting. With your current cultivation, knowing too much won't do you any good. Try not to ask about things above the Saint Realm if you can. I understand. All right then, I'll take my leave. Wait for my good news. Farewell, Purple Sky Enlightened Master. After Tsing Hui finished speaking, the Purple Sky Enlightened Master nodded. Very quickly, he turned into an energy hurricane and swept out in all directions. It was like the airwaves formed by the attack of an expert of the unity of spirit and chi realm. After a while, the airwaves gradually weakened and dissipated. After the Purple Sky Enlightened Master left, Tsing Hui stood alone in the courtyard, speechless for a long time. Because the guards outside the courtyard had received his orders in advance, they didn't enter and remained loyal to their duties. He stood there for an entire night. It wasn't until the next day's sunlight pierced through the early morning clouds and shone on Tsing Hui's eyes that he woke up from his despondency. After a while, his eyes gradually became spirited and sharp. 8 years, shattering the vacuum, has become an extravagant hope. In that case, I can only pin all my hopes on the teleportation technique. I need to advance to the 30th level of the Son of Chaos as quickly as possible and use the teleportation technique. Currently, he was at the 18th level of the Chaos. It would take him more than 3 years to reach the 30th level of the Son of Chaos. If the teleportation technique was really reliable, he might even return to Earth earlier than expected. Thinking of this, Tsing Hui slowly calmed down. Next, he still needed to focus on cultivation. The review on Tianqiong's side was very fast. On the 3rd day, Tsing Hui had already received news from Nayland Fei. Then, under his lead, he conjured a spell and directly appeared on a mountain peak with birdsong and fragrant flowers. Living creatures? Tsing Hui looked at the mountain peak for a while. Then, his gaze immediately fell on a group of creatures that were spreading their wings and soaring like red-crowned cranes. This personal space belongs to Master Tianqiong, one of the 10 core members of Tianqiong. It's called Tianqiong Realm. Master Tianqiong is also one of the 4 earliest founders of Tianqiong. Nayland Fei explained with a smile beside Tsing Hui, the entire Tianqiong realm spans 30 to 40 million kilometers and can accommodate living creatures. It's the true foundation of Tianqiong. At the same time, it's also the foundation that allows Tianqiong to continuously absorb cultivators. Although every Son of Chaos has their own secrets, since you want to enter Tianqiong, you still have to abide by some basic rules. Come with me. As she spoke, she had already led Tsing Hui toward the peak of the mountain. Tsing Hui followed closely behind. However, after walking forward for a while, he seemed to have thought of something. He abruptly raised his head and looked toward the horizon. There was a sun hanging in the sky. The sun emitted a vast amount of heat, forming an endless radiance that completely illuminated half of Tianqiong realm. In the dazzling light, Tsing Hui could vaguely see a majestic figure swimming slowly in the sun. That's a golden crow. A golden crow divine beast. Although he was already mentally prepared, after hearing Nayland Fei's confirmation, Tsing Hui still couldn't help but keep looking at the sun. That's right, a golden crow divine beast. Although it's an immature golden crow divine beast, in terms of combat strength, it's even stronger than a peak saint expert. There's actually such a divine beast in Tianqiong. The golden crow is just one of the divine beasts. When you understand Tianqiong better, you'll realize that this force is far more shocking than you think. In fact, Tianqiong is similar to the 10 saint sects. They also have the concept of contribution points. As long as you contribute enough to Tianqiong, Tianqiong can do anything for you. Even if you want to cultivate on the sun and observe the golden crow divine beast up close, it's not difficult at all. Chapter 146. Observing the golden crow, Xing Hui looked up. Coming from Earth, he knew very well what kind of existence the sun was. The surface temperature of the sun had reached 6,000 degrees, and its center was 20 million degrees. Almost no life could survive there. But now, such a terrifying star was actually formed by living creatures. What kind of miracle was this? How inconceivable was this? This golden crow was subdued by the combined efforts of the 6 experts of the Sky Dome Empire. With the help of the power of the golden crow, the core of the Sky Dome Empire was reheated and radiated with boundless radiance. This is only one of the powerful features of the Sky Dome Empire. In the Sky Dome Empire, not only can one observe many divine beasts, including the golden crow, there are also various divine weapons and top techniques. These divine weapons and techniques are from all the continents, including the Sky Dome Empire. Isn't this no different from a sacred land? Xing Hui said sincerely as he looked at this completely real world. Sacred land? Nayland Fei smiled. Although I have never been to Heaven Wasteland, I have some understanding of the distribution of forces on Heaven Wasteland from my conversations with others. In Heaven Wasteland, there are 1 hall, 3 sects, 6 religions, and 9 gates, whose status is equivalent to the 10 great sects of Eastern Wasteland. However, the so-called 1 hall, 3 sects, 6 religions, and 9 gates are inferior to the 10 great organizations of chaos. For example, the Divine Punishment Hall is as powerful as any of the 9 great sects, but because it offended Heaven Vault, it was trampled by the experts of Heaven Vault. More than 90% of its experts were killed, and its entire sect was razed to the ground. In Heaven Wasteland, the 10 great organizations of chaos are more powerful than these sacred land sects? If you really want to compare them, the 10 great organizations of chaos are naturally slightly stronger than the 1 hall, 3 sects, 6 churches, and 9 gates. However, not all of the 10 great organizations have their headquarters in Tianhuang. Furthermore, the 1 hall, 3 sects, 6 churches, and 9 gates have sensed the strength of the 10 great organizations and have constantly sent many experts to infiltrate the 10 great organizations. Currently, there are quite a few high-ranking members of these sects and sacred grounds in the chaos organizations as well. For example, one of the 10 core members of our firmament, Venerable 3 Wonders, is a venerated elder of the 6 sacred sects. As Nayland Fei spoke, she had already brought Xing Hui to a rather magnificent hall. The main hall was slightly deserted. Although there were some people coming and going, there were only a dozen or so of them. Nayland Fei stepped forward and said to a young woman. The young woman suddenly looked at Xing Hui with some surprise, her eyes faintly carrying a trace of envy. A moment later, with the woman leading the way, Nayland Fei and Yang Kai once again entered the hall. In the hall, a man who looked to be about 50 years old and exuded an immortal aura was flipping through a book with great interest. Even though there was no presence or pressure in the chaotic divine hall, Qing Su could still sense that he was extraordinary just by looking at him. Even if he was sitting casually, he was completely in tune with the surrounding heaven and earth. Anyone who saw him would not be able to find the slightest flaw between him and the outside world. This is Venerable Tsang Zhen, who is in charge of the registration of our firmament disciples. Don't think that his status is ordinary just because he is in charge of this. In fact, he is not only a member of the 10 core members of our firmament, but also one of the 4 founders. However, he is already old and does not care much about the affairs of our firmament, so he has requested to sit here and review the registration of the disciples of our firmament. Nayland Fei introduced carefully. The firmament was established 1,400 years ago, which meant that Venerable Tsang Zhen had lived for at least 1,400 years. In 1,400 years, even an ordinary person could become a top expert. The woman, Nayland Fei, and Xing Hui stepped forward and bowed one by one. Greetings, Venerable Tsongzhen. Little Yuling and Qing Yu are here. Venerable Tsongzhen put down the book in his hand and chuckled, appearing rather amiable. A moment later, his gaze also fell on Xing Hui. He clearly did not use the appraisal art, but when he looked at Xing Hui, it gave him the illusion that all his secrets had been seen through. This is Pak Hui, right? I have been waiting for you for a long time. Venerable Purple Shao has already told me that the Golden Crow vital energy is very domineering. If you can cultivate the divine-grade lawful embodiment of heaven and earth one day, you will definitely become a top warrior of our firmament. Venerable Tsongzhen said enthusiastically. Venerable Purple Shao is too kind. Xing Hui said, among the divine beast bloodlines, there might not be any difference in superiority, but there was a difference in specialization. Just like the divine beast Qilin, which was a mythical beast, if it fought to the death, it might not be able to defeat the divine beast White Tiger, which specialized in metal. There was also the divine beast Kuan Peng, which roamed the world and came and went without a trace, but in a head-on battle, it was no match for the Great Sun Golden Crow. In terms of fighting ability, the Great Sun Golden Crow could definitely be ranked in the top 3 among the divine beasts. Come, I will register you. In addition, these are the rules and regulations of our firmament. Take a look. Qing Yu has already explained it to me, Xing Hui said. Well then, condense a spiritual imprint and leave it behind. This is considered an official entry. Hearing this, Xing Hui stepped forward and left a spiritual imprint. This spiritual imprint could only be controlled by the sword-bearer, and even the leader of firmament was not qualified to explore it. Only when this member violated the rules of firmament but was unwilling to be punished, would the sword-bearer release the spiritual imprint to lock onto his position and kill him. Not long after Xing Hui handed over his spiritual imprint, Venerable Tsongzhen had already handed over a small book and a small badge to him. Here it is. The badge represents that you are a member of firmament. There are roughly 5 types of members of firmament: peripheral members, official members, high-ranking members, council members, and core members. As for positions, they are part-time, such as me, the master of the book creation hall, the deputy leader of firmament, and Xian Qi, the sword-bearer. Positions are mainly judged by the contribution to firmament. Those who have cultivated divine-grade Gang Qi are naturally official members. If you want to be promoted to a high-ranking member, there are 3 ways. First, cultivate divine-grade Jin Yuan. Second, reach 100,000 contribution points. Third, reach level 20 chaos. It is written in the book, you can read it yourself. Xing Hui nodded. By Su, any official member of the Celestial Dome of Heaven will have the opportunity to observe the true body of the divine beast they cultivate. Since you cultivate the Golden Crow's true Qi, you'll naturally be able to observe the true body of the Golden Crow. Do you plan to go now or wait for a while? Xing Hui's heart moved. I can't wait to see the power of the Golden Crow. Well, I happen to be free today, so I might as well take you there. Nayland Fei did not understand, and hurriedly said, why don't you thank Venerable Tsongzhen? On the other hand, Yuling seemed to understand something and suddenly became speechless. Put on this dazzling yang bead. Only with this can you survive in the periphery of the sun. Take it easy, let's go. Seeing that Xing Hui had agreed, Venerable Tsongzhen split a part of his Zhen Qi and pulled him directly into the sky. Accompanied by waves of space shuttling, they actually crossed tens of millions of miles unknowingly. However, Xing Hui knew that this was not because Venerable Tsongzhen had the ability to travel through space, but because the Lord of Firmament Realm had given him a similar ability, allowing him to travel thousands of miles in an instant in this world. As Xing Hui got closer and closer to the core of the sun, the light emitted from it became more and more intense. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been blinded by the light. However, Xing Hui was a cultivator of the Golden Crow Zhen Qi, and the Golden Crow Divine Soul was formed in his spiritual world. When the Golden Crow Divine Soul was in the awakening realm, it changed his physique, causing him to not be afraid of strong light. As for Venerable Tsongzhen, an old monster who had lived for God knows how many years, naturally, he was not afraid of light. The two arrived outside the sun, and with a leap, they immediately appeared on the surface of the sun. At this time, the dazzling yang bead on his body emitted a circle of flowing light, protecting him from the true flames of the great sun that were everywhere. Standing here, Qing Su could already see a mythical creature that was constantly roaming about in the rolling heat flow. Even with the dazzling yang bead blocking him, Xing Hui could not truly feel the divine might of this mythical creature. However, its huge body and the true flames of the great sun that shot out from each of its feathers still shocked Xing Hui from the bottom of his heart. "Pak Hui, I have a great opportunity for you. Do you want it?" Venerable Tsongjin said with a mysterious expression. "Opportunity? Please tell me, Venerable Tsongjin." "Right now, there is a great sun in front of you. You cultivate the bloodline of the Golden Crow. In front of the Golden Crow and surrounded by the great sun, if you were to cultivate in such a place, what do you think?" Xing Hui's eyes lit up. Then, as if he had thought of something, he said, "Right now, I am only in my spiritual form. Even if I cultivate, it's true that you are in your spiritual form, but the Sky Dome realm is real. Even the blazing sun above our heads and the divine beast, the Golden Crow, are real. Why can't I cultivate here?" Venerable Tsongjin said and coughed slightly. "Of course, we still need to use some methods. The incarnation technique can project energy to hundreds of millions of miles away. If we use some tools, we can do the same. You don't need to ask about the specific process. You just need to give me a spiritual imprint of yours and pay me 3 Taoist rhymes. I guarantee that whatever realm you cultivate to here, your true body will also reach." There is actually such a divine technique. When Xing Hui heard this, he was naturally tempted. With the Golden Crow's true body in front of him and being able to cultivate in the great sun, how much would his cultivation level increase after a period of time? It would not be difficult for him to break through a realm. However, I don't have any item that contains 3 Taoist rhymes. Then you can owe me. I don't need you to write an IOU. Just remember to pay me when the time comes. It's settled then. Spiritual imprint. Xing Hui once again split a portion of his spiritual energy and condensed it into a spiritual imprint. After receiving Xing Hui's spiritual imprint, Venerable Tsongjin directly dripped a drop of golden liquid onto Xing Hui's body. Instantly, Xing Hui's body became more substantial. It felt like a flesh and blood body. "Send all of your spiritual energy here." Xing Hui did not dare to relax. He immediately announced that he would go into seclusion on the dragon-slaying island. He focused all of his spiritual energy on the Sky Dome realm in the Chaos Shrine. At this moment, the droplet of golden liquid showed its effects. Qing Su immediately sensed that his body was no different from his body in the real world. He could clearly sense the essence of the sun that was as vast as an ocean in the core of the sun that surrounded him. Chapter 147. All right. There was a trace of pain in Tsongjin's eyes, but he quickly covered it up. With a face full of joy, he said, "You can stay here and observe. I will slightly adjust the isolation strength of the dazzling sun bead for you, and let a part of the great sun essence flow into your protective cover. You can use the great sun essence to cultivate with all your strength. However, according to the rules, you can't stay here to observe and cultivate for more than 30 days. How much you can temper your soul in 30 days depends on yourself." As soon as Tsongjin finished speaking, he patted the protective cover formed by the dazzling sun bead around Xing Hui's body. Suddenly, a horrible heat mixed with the extremely pure sun true flame rolled over. Xing Hui suddenly opened his eyes. The sun essence flowed into his body like a torrent. After a little practice, he felt that he was completely immersed in the sun essence, and the endless sun essence was inexhaustible. "Brat, I've already given you the opportunity. In these 30 days, you better stay alert and don't slack off for even a moment. If you dare to walk around carelessly or get distracted, you'll miss out on this opportunity that I've given you. From now on, don't even think about getting any benefits from me. All right, now focus your mind and make use of every second to cultivate. I'm busy, so I won't be watching you. When the time comes, I'll take you away." Tsongjin said sternly. "Yes." Tsing Hui answered immediately. A cultivator of the Great Sun Gold Crow spell could sit on the sun and cultivate openly. Even the master of the Gold Crow sect might not have such a great opportunity. Who would be willing to waste even 1 second of their time? At this moment, Tsing Hui had already observed the divine beast Golden Crow to improve some of the small flaws in the practice of the Sun Golden Crow skill. Seeing this, Song Jin nodded with satisfaction, and then his figure flashed, and he had already shuttled away. Not long after, he appeared at the other end of the core of the sun, which was less than 1,000 miles in diameter. There was a woman who looked to be in her 40s, full of grace, and was cultivating. At this moment, his face was no longer as dignified as before. Instead, he had a fawning look on his face. "Sister Li, you're still cultivating?" After these few years, Sister Li's true phoenix fire has become even purer. It looks like you won't need much time before you can use the true phoenix fire as a foundation to cultivate the even more tyrannical true sun fire. Why are you here again? Didn't my brother say that you can't easily step into the core of the sun? The woman called Sister Li glared at Master Songjin angrily. Well, a boy who has awakened the bloodline of the Golden Crow wants to observe the Golden Crow real body. This is my duty, so I brought him here to guard. To see Sister Li on the way. How long can you observe the Golden Crow real body? 2 hours is more than enough. Why do you have to make another trip here? The woman said angrily. That boy's comprehension is amazing. After observing the Golden Crow real body, he actually had an epiphany. It's a rare opportunity. According to the rules of our sky, once he has an epiphany, he can stay here for a maximum of 30 days. Epiphany. It's a good opportunity. Seeing this, the woman didn't know what to say. Okay, you stay aside. I have to cultivate, and I don't have time to talk to you. Sister Li, listen to me. I recently found a phoenix sacred beast. Sister Li. Tsing Hui didn't know what was happening in the other direction of the core of the sun. At this moment, he was concentrating all his attention on observing the Golden Crow real body in front of him, making his divine soul more solid. The Golden Crow divine soul was formed by imitating the Golden Crow, and no matter how hard one tried to imitate the Golden Crow, it couldn't compare to the real Golden Crow. After seeing the Golden Crow real body with his own eyes, Tsing Hui clearly felt that he had a new understanding of the first 3 stages of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. The efficiency of his cultivation was faster, and the Golden Crow divine soul in his spiritual world was more realistic and agile. The changes of the Golden Crow divine soul directly changed Tsing Hui's physical body, making his affinity and resistance to fire improve silently. At the same time, he also took out the fire phoenix feather. The essence of the great sun flowed into Tsing Hui's body like a torrential river, enriching his Golden Crow real chi. After being continuously compressed by his body, Tsing Hui became more condensed. His gang chi, which was close to the level of initial success, silently broke through the first barrier, but this was only the beginning. With such a unique environment, his cultivation was advancing by leaps and bounds at every moment. His gang chi had reached the level of initial success, and he didn't even care about consolidating his cultivation level. On the second day of cultivation, his gang chi had broken through again and stepped into the level of initial success. After 3 days of delay, on the 5th day of Tsing Hui's arrival at the periphery of the Great Sun, Tsing Hui's gang chi had advanced by leaps and bounds to the level of initial success. After his gang chi reached the level of initial success, Tsing Hui could have continued to cultivate and rushed to the level of unity of spirit and chi. The Golden Crow divine soul was so solid and real that he already had the qualifications to do so. However, divine-grade gang chi was still divine-grade gang chi. Every inch of divine-grade gang chi contained unimaginable power. Once unleashed, it could even turn a third-grade divine weapon into molten iron. How could such a powerful gang chi be subdued without sufficient sword intent? Although Tsing Hui's spiritual level had reached level 46 and had undergone a transformation from death to life under the bombardment of the eternal blazing sun, his spiritual level had advanced to level 47. However, compared to subduing his blazing and domineering Gang Qi and achieving unity of spirit and Qi, it was still far inferior. If he couldn't subdue his Gang Qi, how could he achieve unity of spirit and Qi and advance to immortality level 4? Moreover, he only had the first 3 levels of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, and he didn't have the Great Sun Golden Crow technique to achieve unity of spirit and Qi. For a moment, he had no choice but to stop cultivating the Great Sun Golden Crow technique and quickly shift his attention to the Illuminating Sun Sutra. Cultivation level was the foundation of everything. The essence of the Great Sun was freely available, and in this unique environment he needed to maximize every second he had. The Illuminating Sun Sutra was a cultivation method derived from the bloodline of the Torch Dragon. Although the Torch Dragon soul created by Tsing Hui was somewhat different from the Torch Dragon recorded in the Illuminating Sun Sutra, it was still crowned with the nickname of the Great Sun True God. Absorbing the essence of the Great Sun would also bring immeasurable benefits. However, compared to cultivating the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, the efficiency was much lower. After a full 4 days, Tsing Hui pushed the Illuminating Sun Sutra from the initial stage of the True Qi realm to the Spirit Refining realm, and refined the Red Yang Gang Qi. He spent another 12 days to condense the Red Yang Gang Qi to a small success. Compared to the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, this cultivation efficiency was more than 10 times slower. Seeing that the 1-month deadline was closing in, and according to this trend, he wouldn't be able to advance the Red Sun Gang Qi to the Deshang stage in the remaining 9 days. He immediately changed his direction, and his gaze fell on the offensive method derived from the 3rd layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Every layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique had extraordinary attacks. However, these attacks often required the assistance of precious resources and were not easy to cultivate. Tsing Hui wanted to shatter the vacuum as soon as possible and was unwilling to spend too much effort on these attacks. Thus, he did not study them. But now, there was an opportunity. Moreover, the 3rd layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique was equivalent to the embryonic form of the Eternal Blazing Sunday. Only by cultivating this technique to the point of perfection could he attempt to refine the Eternal Blazing Sunday Red Crow soul. He would condense the extremely pure golden crow Zhen Qi into small golden crows and feed them to the Zhen Qi in his body. At the critical moment, he would release them and detonate them after hitting the target. Every Scarlet Crow soul was equivalent to his full strength attack. The initial stage of the Spirit Qi could refine 1 Red Crow soul, the small success stage of the Spirit Qi could refine 3 Red Crow souls, and Tsing Hui's perfect stage of the Spirit Qi realm could refine 9 Red Crow souls. Once this technique was used, it was equivalent to the combined attack of 9 experts who had refined the divine grade Golden Crow Qi. Its power was truly unstoppable. Tsing Hui immediately used all his strength to refine it. An endless stream of energy was drawn by him and condensed into Red Crow souls. Failed? No problem. The surrounding Great Sun essence was endless. There was no need to worry about the problem of consumption. If he failed, he could just continue. Under such circumstances, Tsing Hui used 6 days to refine all 9 Red Crow souls. During this time, he failed no less than 100 times. It should be known that every Red Crow soul was equivalent to the condensed True Qi essence of a perfect stage of the Spirit Qi realm. If he wanted to replenish and compress so much energy, he would need to spend an unknown amount of time. If he relied on the Great Sun essence and other items, he would need to spend 3 or 4 Red Crow souls. Tsing Hui failed 100 times to refine 9 Red Crow souls, which was equivalent to wasting 300 or 400 Great Sun essences. With so much Great Sun essence, it would not be difficult to buy 3 or 4 true eternal blazing suns. In the remaining 3 days, Tsing Hui did not cultivate. Instead, he constantly tried to refine the Red Crow souls, striving to reduce the failure rate to the lowest. Finally, when the success rate of refining the Red Crow souls had been raised to 60%, Master Tsang Zhen's loud shout came. "All right, kid, 30 days have passed. If you stay any longer, that old man Tsang Qiong will definitely find trouble with me. End your cultivation." What a pity! If I had another 3 to 5 days, I could have raised the success rate of refining the Red Crow souls to 80%. Tsing Hui felt a little regretful in his heart. Kid, there is one thing you have to remember. This opportunity is given to you by me. You must not spread it out. If others ask why you stayed for a month, just say that you were too fascinated by the golden crow divine beast's true body and had an epiphany. Do you understand? Sing Hui knew that this opportunity was not ordinary. What he had gained in this month was not something that could be exchanged with 3 Dao rhymes. Naturally, he would not talk about it. I understand. Let's go. Remember what I said. Don't spread it around. Otherwise, I will hold you accountable. Master Songjin once again sternly repeated. I will remember. That's good. Master Songjin waved his hand and once again wrapped Sing Hui and fell straight to the ground. As he once again shuttled through layers of space, not long after, the square of the book creation hall appeared in front of him. Chapter 148. Esteemed Master. As soon as they arrived at the book creation hall, Yuling, who was specially guarding here, immediately stepped forward and saluted. Zongjin esteemed master nodded, and at the same time, glanced at Sing Hui, and said with a serious tone, I can see that you have double awakened and cultivated 2 bloodlines, but you have to be careful. There are 2 divine beast souls in your body and they are subtly transforming your body. If you don't control this well, or if your body can't withstand the transformation of the 2 divine beasts, you will turn into a monster. Therefore, if you really want to continue on this path of dual cultivation, you can't slack off on training your body. When your level of chaos increases in the future, you have to increase your recovery characteristics. Only then will you be able to boldly temper your body without worrying about leaving behind any hidden dangers. Thank you for your guidance, Master Zongjin. Zongjin esteemed master shook his head. Young people nowadays are really arrogant. It's true that the power of dual cultivation is amazing, but how can it be so easy to make achievements? If you don't have the guidance of a top expert, it's too easy to have problems. Especially in the prominent divine stage, when the power of 2 battle constitutions is on your body at the same time, I'm afraid you will explode and die. I think it's better for you to cultivate the Golden Crow bloodline and let the Golden Crow bloodline devour the other bloodline. In this way, not only will the Golden Crow bloodline become stronger, but your cultivation path will also be more stable. I will act according to my ability. Sing Hui said. Zongjin esteemed master saw that he was stubborn and didn't force him. Everyone had their own cultivation path. Those who could cultivate divine grade aura chi were all dragons among men, and they were full of confidence in themselves. Only when they hit their heads and bleed would they know what to choose. In a while, you can leave directly, but when you leave, you have to be careful. The moment your spirit returns to your body, the golden blood, which is specially used to break the barrier between the Chaos Temple and the real world, will bring the power in your body to your real body. Your body will face the pressure of skyrocketing power, and if you can't withstand it, you will die. My recovery characteristics are relatively high. Is that so? A 3rd or 4th level recovery characteristic is enough, but you can't avoid suffering. Go. Yes. Sing Hui responded and left the Chaos Temple. Unlike when he left the Chaos Shrine in the past, when he left the Chaos Shrine this time, he felt like his entire body was sinking to the bottom of the lake. This sinking lasted for a few breaths of time. In the next moment, the sinking feeling suddenly disappeared, and the feeling of returning to his body filled his entire body. The feeling of reaching the completion of the 3rd level of the Great Sun Golden Crow skill and the minor success of the 3rd level of the Candle Sun Sutra also flowed through his body. The only difference was that this body had never carried this kind of power before. Even though his spirit had already adapted to this power, he still felt like his body was about to burst. In an instant, a large amount of blood seeped out of his pores. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and absorbed all the true chi into his body at the first moment. Even the 9 Scarlet Crow souls were dormant. Only then was he able to reduce the burden of the majestic true chi on his body. Even so, his clothes were unavoidably dyed red with blood. My strength suddenly increased by so much. My body can't adapt to it. Fortunately, my recovery ability has reached tier 5. Sing Hui's expression was calm. Next, he began to consciously and slowly circulate the true qi in his body. Wherever the true qi passed, his tendons and meridians could not bear the burden. However, the powerful recovery ability of the Tier 5 true qi repaired all the damage done to his tendons and meridians in an instant. Again and again, it was damaged, repaired, shattered, and reborn. His body was adapting to this sudden increase in power at an extremely fast speed. After 10 days, the Golden Crow True Qi and Scarlet Yang True Qi ran rampant in his body, no longer causing any damage to his body. However, Xing Hui still did not relax. In one breath, he cultivated from the early spirit refining realm to the peak of the spirit refining realm. The gap in cultivation was really too big, and the sudden increase in true qi was not as smooth as his heart's desire. He still needed to polish it carefully. He did not need to reach the level of Taoist Master Purple Sky, where he did not waste a single bit of true qi, but at least he needed to be able to command it like an arm. Just like that, another 20 days passed. Calculating the time, it had been 2 months since he returned from the mainland to the sea. 2 months was not a long time, but in terms of cultivation, compared to 2 months ago, the current him was not just a little bit. Primal Chaos Temple. Sure enough, it's good to enjoy the shade under a big tree. The convenience of entering Sky Vault is many times faster than gathering resources and cultivating by oneself. No wonder countless cultivators want to join the 10 great sacred sects. To join a top organization like Sky Vault, no wonder those who stand at the peak often come from the 10 great sacred sects. Xing Hui sat on an armchair in his personal space, muttering to himself while waiting for Nayland Fei's news. At the same time, he glanced at his own attributes. Xing Hui. Primal Chaos Level, Rank 18. Recovery, Rank 5, Comprehension, Rank 4, Sword Talent, Rank 3, Sacred Technique, Rank 2, Divine Protection, Rank 1, Personal Space, Rank 1, Appraisal, Rank 1, Advancement, Rank 1. Required Tao Aura, 75100. Cultivation Realm, Qi Refining, Aura Forming Realm. Attack Level, 51, Defense Level, 44, Speed Level, 48, Spirit Level, 47. The Golden Crow Vital Energy really lives up to its name of being destructive and domineering. In terms of attack, it's really unparalleled, but in terms of defense, it's a little weak, and this is because I've cultivated the Illuminating Sun Sutra and reached the 3rd level of initial success. Otherwise, my defense level would be at most 40, or maybe even 39. Pak Hui. Nayland Fei's voice sounded. Xing Hui also invited her into his personal space. Be careful during this period of time. There are some faint movements in the sect, and the overseas forces might be swept up. If there are any changes, you'd better take your people and retreat first. Sweep up. All the sects along the coast of the 10 saint sects do this from time to time. First, it's used to train their disciples. Second, after a period of accumulation, many of the overseas islands have accumulated some wealth. For example, the targets this time are either Shaoyang Sea City or Yuheng Sea City. As for the other two, one is too far away, and the other has been swept up 100 years ago, so there's not enough profit. After Nayland Fei finished speaking, she added, wiping out is different from seeking revenge. You only need to avoid the vanguard of the wiping out team. If there are any abnormal movements, I will inform you immediately, but you have to be careful. During this period of time, have you finished reading the book with the detailed explanation of Heaven's Vault? Xing Hui nodded and said at the same time, I didn't expect there to be so many official members in Heaven's Vault. Every one of them has cultivated divine-grade earth energy? 1,034 people. This number isn't too many. Although there may not be 30 divine-grade earth energy cultivators in the entire Eastern Wilderness, compared to the vast world, the Eastern Wilderness is nothing. There are hundreds and thousands of small islands like the Eastern Wilderness. Moreover, Heaven's Vault, which was originally passed down from the main body of the Divine Wilderness continent, is obviously stronger than the other continents. Those top forces often have more than one Saint Realm expert overseeing them. With careful training, it's not impossible to teach 1 or 2 divine-grade earth energy cultivators. Eastern Wilderness. Heaven's Vault. I really don't know when I'll be able to step into the vast world of Heaven's Vault. Before you reach the Saint Realm, you mustn't be impulsive. Even if you reach the Saint Realm, it's best to go out to sea in groups. Otherwise, you'll most likely die, Nayland Fei hurriedly warned. I understand. Tsing Hui asked, is there any way to refine the spirit and increase the strength of the spirit? There are many ways. In the Sky Vault realm, there's a place called the Six Desires Law World. It was created specifically to use the 7 emotions and 6 desires to refine one's spirit. In addition, you can ask those high-level experts to use their spirit to shock and refine your will. Or you can borrow a divine weapon that contains boundless sword intent and use the sword intent of the divine weapon to test your own sword intent. However, opening the 6 Desires Law World, asking high-level experts to help, or renting a divine weapon requires contribution points. Without contribution points, others may not be willing to help you. Tsing Hui nodded. I plan to contribute the first 4 layers of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Black Hole Sutra, and then use the contribution points exchanged for the Black Hole Sutra to exchange for the 4th layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. I wonder if there will be any hidden dangers. Of course not. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect is domineering in the eastern wilderness, but they can't control Heaven's Vault realm. However, if you're hunted because of these techniques, Heaven's Vault realm may not appear to protect you. I understand. The biggest difference between chaos organizations and Holy Lands was that they were a collection of interests. Their cohesiveness was far from comparable to that of Holy Lands. Even the existence of the sword wielder was more of a deterrent than a practical one. If Heaven's Vault realm started a war with another powerful chaos organization without bringing any benefits, most of the people in Heaven's Vault realm would abandon them. If the sword wielder dared to chase after them, the reputation of the entire organization would be completely ruined, and it would be very difficult for new members to join. As time passed, Heaven's Vault realm would gradually weaken until it was swallowed up by its enemies. Then go. However, I can't be sure if Heaven's Vault realm has already recorded the Black Hole Sutra. I'll go ask. After saying that, Tsing Hui's figure dissipated, leaving his personal space. He formed a hand seal and appeared in the Sky Vault realm. Then he headed straight for the library. Soon, he arrived at the floor of the library. Although it was called a library, this place seemed to be quite automated. There were a large number of platforms in the hall that could prevent identity badges. Once an identity badge was placed, a light screen would pop up and one could search for the desired information on the light screen. Tsing Hui first searched for the Black Hole Sutra. When he saw the information on it, disappointment appeared on his face. Heaven's Vault realm recorded the 1st to 6th levels of the Black Hole Sutra in detail. The exchange cost 5,000 contribution points or 50 Taoist rhymes. After a moment, he flipped through the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Heaven's Vault realm recorded the 4th level, which cost 4,000 contribution points or 40 Taoist rhymes. The price was too high. He couldn't afford it. He had already cultivated the Great Sun Golden Crow technique to perfection and couldn't cultivate it further. The progress of the remaining Illuminating Sun Sutra was slow. The 3 Unity of Divine Qi experts summoned by Yun Tao are about to arrive. I hope I can find some unexpected gains from them. Otherwise, I'll really have to follow Xuanwu Cub to lure Jiuying and try my luck at his sister's cave abode. The cave abode of a saint-level Xuanwu. The collection can't be too bad. Chapter 149. Not far from Dragon-Slaying Island, an extraordinary battleship was shuttling through the sea of clouds, riding the wind and breaking the waves. As the clouds in front were torn apart, the battleship jumped out and saw the huge coastline at the end of the coast. Dragon Whale Island, here we are. In the captain's room of the battleship, a man who looked like a gentleman in his 30s sipped the drunken immortal wine that was offered by one of his subordinates. He glanced at the huge island that appeared in the sea from the corner of his eyes. We can't call it Dragon Whale Island now, but Dragon Slaying Island. Don't get it wrong. There were a total of 4 people in the room. The one who spoke was a man in black with a cold expression. Whether it's Dragon Whale Island or Dragon Slaying Island, they will all become history after today. Another woman, who was dressed in a long red robe and had a head full of ornaments, said. She had a graceful and luxurious appearance. Yi Xiao is right. Madame Zhuyu, we have to respect the new name that the island owner gave to this island, even if he is going to meet the king of hell soon. The last man in a black robe said indifferently, all right, that Dragon Slayer Island master isn't considered weak. According to Yun Tao, once he uses his divine technique, even the famous Dragon Whale Island master wouldn't be his match. Therefore, if you really want to relax, you'll have to wait until his divine technique lasts. When you said, with one you around, as long as Dragon Slaying Island owner is not a true divine Chi-Unison realm expert, he is not worth mentioning. That's right. Not only did Wen Yu cultivate the revolving turtle bloodline, he even exchanged a Tier 5 armor with a powerful person. No matter how capable Dragon Slaying Island owner is, he can't do anything to Wen Yu in a short period of time. Yi Xiao and Madame Zhuyu said with respect. In terms of cultivation, Wen Yu was the strongest and had a reputation. If it wasn't because he wasn't good at fighting, the three of them who were in the middle stage of divine Chi-Unison realm might not dare to team up with him. Everything will have to wait until we meet Dragon Slaying Island owner. Wen Yu said and glanced below again. In case there is any problem with Yun Tao, let's go to the city where Dragon Slaying Island owner is and kill him first. Go directly? Bypass Yun Tao? We all have Dao-carrying items with 10 Dao rhythms as collateral for the mission. It's not good to completely bypass him, right? That's right. I've worked hard for a few dozen years to accumulate a Dao-carrying object with 10 Dao-carrying auras. If I miss it because of such a mission, then it'll be too late for regrets. It's fine. When you glanced at the few of them, when the time comes, we'll just give him the things that we should give him according to the mission. As long as there's no problem with the main body of the mission, he's just a beginner stage cultivator of the unification of spirit and chi who's not good at fighting. Would he dare to pursue some small details? Madame Dogwood, the Night Owl, and the other black-robed man didn't retort. After all, the most important thing to kill Zhan Long Island Master this time was to endure the duration of the opponent's divine technique. Only by enduring the duration would they be able to kill him. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to fight against Zhan Long Island Master who was at the pinnacle of the unification of spirit and chi with the help of the divine technique. Furthermore, the time limit to endure the Zhan Long Island Master's divine technique was completely dependent on Captain Wen Yu. Since Wen Yu had said so, they naturally had to give him face. Then, let's do as Lord Wen Yu has said. Let's descend to Zhanlong City where the island master of Zhanlong Island is and kill him in one go. Madame Dogwood said. Wen Yu nodded with a slight smile. What's that? At this moment, the black-robed man seemed to unconsciously glance outside the warship and saw a black dot coming from the direction of Zhanlong Island. It was approaching at an extremely fast speed. His words attracted the attention of the few unification of spirit and chi experts present. As the black dot kept approaching, the Night Owl, who had the best eyesight, suddenly widened his eyes. Person? It's a person. That's a flying sword. Someone is flying at full speed toward us on a flying sword. A flying sword? The Night Owl's words made Wen Yu, the black-robed man, and Madame Dogwood slightly stunned. Then, the black-robed man and Madame Dogwood revealed a joyful expression at the same time. It's a flying sword. I've been thinking about exchanging for a flying sword. Unfortunately, those sons of chaos who have flying swords usually ask for 3 or even 4 Taoist rhymes. If this price was on the infinite wasteland domain, it wouldn't be a problem to buy a dozen flying swords. How could they have the nerve to ask for such a price? I didn't expect a flying sword to be delivered to my door today. I'm going to stop him right now. Madame Dogwood, I'm also lacking a flying sword. I think the two of us should each show off our abilities. Whoever can intercept and kill this person will become the owner of the flying sword. The black-robed man said. All right, there's no need for the two of you to argue. The owner of the flying sword is obviously coming for us. Who else on Zhanlong Island can own a flying sword other than the island master? Prepare to meet him on the deck. If he uses a divine technique, Madame Dogwood, use your soul's care bell to disturb him and prevent him from escaping on his flying sword. Hei Yen, use your dark barrier to trap him and do your best to hold him back. The night owl is in charge of keeping watch and preventing him from escaping. When Yu abruptly stood up, understood. Madame Dogwood, the night owl, and the others all wore solemn expressions when they realized that the person before them was their target. They quickly headed to the deck with Wen Yu. That's the island master? He doesn't look very old and is just a brat? However, he knows that we're coming. Could it be that Yun Tao has betrayed us? Madame Dogwood frowned. I already found it strange that there was no news about Yun Tao in the past 3 months. Now it seems that Yun Tao has most likely been dealt with or even killed by this dragon-slaying island owner. However, Yun Tao must have set a trap for this dragon-slaying island owner before his death and lied about our true cultivation. Otherwise, this dragon-slaying island owner would have long fled when he saw us coming. How would he dare to confront us head-on? The night owl sneered. That's most likely the case. Yun Tao really wants to use us to avenge him. So, why don't we let him get what he wants? Wen Yu had a gentle and refined appearance, with a faint mocking smile on his face. In less than 3 breaths of time after the 4 of them rushed to the deck, Sing Hui's figure on his flying sword had already arrived. After realizing that the 4 of them had come to kill him, he did not hesitate at all. The moment the 2 sides clashed, a battle broke out. Dazzling stellar energy surged out from his body, instantly burning the void and forming a monstrous wave of flames visible to the naked eye. Swept by the starfire of the 13 swords of the burning heaven, this wave of flames brazenly crashed into the warship. If this attack hit, even if the warship was a Tier 3, it would definitely be pierced through and destroyed on the spot. This pressure has definitely reached the peak of the unity of spirit and chi. This brat directly used a divine art. Everyone be careful. Sensing the might of Tsing Hui's attack, the night owl's expression turned grave. Hei Yen, Madame Dogwood don't have a flying sword, so we can't let him destroy the warship. I'll go first, the rest of you follow closely behind. Wen Yu shouted in a low voice. The next moment his figure rushed out. A flying sword appeared under his feet, and he flew up to meet Tsing Hui's attack head-on. In the void, the shadow of a black tortoise appeared behind him due to the full activation of his stellar energy, completely enveloping him. Coupled with the fact that he was wearing a Tier 5 middle-grade Xuanwu armor, his defensive power could be said to have reached the peak in one breath. Not to mention a cultivator at the peak of the unity of spirit and chi, even a blue netherworld expert would not be able to do anything to him in a short time. No wonder this group of people still dared to attack Tsing Hui after learning of his combat strength. Unfortunately, bang! Flames burst out. Like a meteor crashing into the earth, a visible energy shockwave mixed with blazing flames swept out, incinerating all the airflow within a radius of 1,000 meters. Even the warships 1,000 meters away shook violently when they were hit by the shockwave, and many of the crew members who were caught off guard fell and rolled on the ground. As the flames spread out, Wen Yu retreated continuously, his face looking rather ugly. A dark red wound tore across his chest, apparently caused by Tsing Hui's sword chi. My tortoise shell vital energy is extremely good at defense, and I exchanged 3 Taoist rhymes for a Tier 5 middle-grade armor. Under such circumstances, you can still hurt me. Wen Yu's gaze immediately fell on the Crimson Dragon sword in Tsing Hui's hand. A Tier 5 divine weapon? And it's definitely a Tier 5 upper-grade divine weapon. Tsing Hui's sword had succeeded. The sword vibrated, and a fierce and blazing stellar energy erupted from the blade once again. The intense friction between the stellar energy and the air caused a series of explosions in the void. The terrifying destructive power had not even reached Wen Yu's body, but it had already caused Wen Yu's expression to change greatly. If I let him attack, I won't be able to resist at all. Madame Zhuyu, Hei Yen, let's attack together and endure the duration of his divine skill. Once the divine skill's effect is over, it'll be time for him to die. Wen Yu's figure rapidly retreated toward the warship as she shouted at the same time. Madame Zhuyu and Hei Yen did not dare to be negligent. One of them took out the soul-sucking bell, while the other took out the dark barrier. For a moment, Tsing Hui felt his spirit tremble as it was filled with the demonic sound of the soul-sucking bell. At the same time, the dark barrier enveloped him, making him feel as if he had sunk into a quagmire. His physical strength and vital energy were depleted several times, no, dozens of times. As expected, even though I've already surpassed the level of unity of divine energy in terms of attack, and even an expert at the later stage of unity of divine energy who cultivates defensive energy and wears a 5th-level middle-grade armor was unable to block the sharpness of the Golden Crow's vital energy. But defense is my greatest shortcoming. Moreover, the 47th level of mental strength doesn't have any obvious advantage in a battle between experts of the unity of divine energy, to the extent that even the opponent's mental attack method can affect me. Tsing Hui had already sensed his own shortcomings after fighting Wen Yu for a while with the Dark Barrier and Soul-Sucking Bell. His current strength should be slightly higher than a peak Divine Chi Unity Realm expert who cultivates ordinary stellar energy, equivalent to a peak Divine Chi Unity Realm expert who cultivates Spirit-grade stellar energy. Although Wen Yu was at the late-stage Divine Chi Unity Realm, she was close to the peak Divine Chi Unity Realm. Moreover, she cultivates Spirit-grade stellar energy. In addition, Madame Zhu Yu and He Yen, the 2 mid-stage Divine Chi Unity Realm experts, were assisting her from the side. In a short period of time, he was actually unable to take them down. Of course, if he were to use the Scarlet Crow Soul and Divine Technique, it would be a different story. However, Tsing Hui was not in a hurry to use his true killing move. The gap in his cultivation was too big, from Spirit Refining Realm to Peak Spirit Refining Realm. He needed someone to practice with. The people in front of him were obviously the best choice. He believed that after he thoroughly integrated his skyrocketing strength through battle, the stalemate would inevitably be broken. Chapter 150. Hold on. The divine art has a time limit. As long as we can last through the duration of his divine art, he'll definitely die. No wonder he could kill the Dragon Whale Island Lord. No wonder Yun Tao had to rely on us even though he knew there was a great deal to be done. It turns out that this kid's divine art is so frightening. If he didn't rely on us, Yun Tao would be seeking his own death if he dared to attack this kid. A high-class son of chaos is truly difficult to deal with. Wen Yu, Madame Dogwood, Nightingale, and He Yen bitterly held on, but there was no fear on their faces. On the contrary, their eyes flashed as if they were certain that as long as they could endure the most difficult period of the divine art's duration, victory would be theirs. It's about time. Nightingale, watch out for him to escape. Wen Yu had 2 more wounds on her body, but she was even more spirited now. I understand. Don't worry, he can't escape. Nightingale coldly stared at Tsing Hui. As long as he showed the slightest sign of escaping, he would immediately attack and do his best to stop him. His flying sword is pretty good, and his willpower far surpasses that of ordinary people, but, with my soul-sucking bell, he won't be able to safely control his flying sword. Even if he wants to escape, Nightingale and Madame Wen Yu will be able to easily catch up to him. Thus, as long as we hold on a little longer, he'll definitely die today. Madame Dogwood confidently declared. The 4 of them immediately became spirited. Even though Tsing Hui was valiant, they showed no fear. But 3 minutes went by, Tsing Hui's aura did not weaken. 6 minutes went by, when you could clearly sense that as Ching Su's grasp over the power of the divine arts had reached perfection, the pressure on them had become greater and greater. 10 minutes went by, not only did Tsing Hui's aura show no signs of weakening, but because he was using his strength more and more perfectly, they were in imminent danger. 15 minutes went by. Finally, He Yen couldn't help but groan and spit out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, a resplendent sword light erupted from the dark barrier he had conjured. It was like an exploding sun, instantly dispersing all the darkness within the dark barrier. My darkness barrier, He Yan's face was ghastly pale. How could this be? How can the divine spell last for so long? Wen Yu was similarly struck by Tsing Hui's sword, adding another wound to his body. Even though he had also added a Tier 1 recovery attribute to himself, his face was still pale from the excessive loss of blood. I've studied divine spells before. When divine spells reach the 5th level, there will be a round of mutation, and the characteristic of this mutation is the extension of time. Could it be that he has already reached the 5th level of divine spells? Although Madame Dogwood was only using the soul-sucking bell to attack Tsing Hui's mind, the soul-sucking bell consumed her own mind. Therefore, the continuous attacks also exhausted her. Upgrade Divine to Tier 5? If he wants to upgrade his Divine Arts to level 5, he needs to reach level 14 in Chaos. Could it be that he obtained the inheritance of a level 28 Son of Chaos? But apart from that, we can't explain how his Divine Arts could last until now. A rank 14 Son of Chaos. When Yu clenched his teeth and fiercely said, "The higher his Chaos level, the more valuable it is to us." While a level 5 divine spell can extend its duration, there is a limit. Everyone, if we continue to hold on, we will definitely be able to obtain the final victory. When that time comes, we will soar into the sky. Although Madame Dogwood, Nightingale, and Hei Yen had been forced into dire straits by Tsing Hui alone, they were unwilling to fail at the last minute. Gritting their teeth, they once more charged at Tsing Hui. But what everyone did not know was that Qing Su's battle prowess was only equivalent to the peak of Divine Qi Uniting Realm when he killed the Lord of Dragonwhale Island, but in just a few short months, his cultivation had increased by more than twofold compared to when he killed the Lord of Dragonwhale Island. The perfection of true energy to the perfection of Gang Qi caused him to possess strength that was not inferior to any expert at the peak of the unity of Divine Energy Realm, even if he did not use divine arts. Especially now, with the help of the continuous tempering of these 4 experts at the unity of Divine Energy Realm, his control of his own strength was also constantly improving. The true combat strength that he could unleash was already above ordinary experts at the unity of Divine Energy Realm. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Hei Yen let out a mournful scream as his entire body was pierced through by Tsing Hui's sword. If Wen Yu had not immediately rushed forward and slammed into Tsing Hui's body, sending him flying, Hei Yen would have been torn to pieces by now. I can't hold on any longer. Even if the 5th rank divine art can extend the duration, it shouldn't extend to the extent of half an hour. The information that Yun Tao gave us is wrong. This brat is most likely a Divine Energy Unity Realm Pinnacle expert. It's just that he has a method to conceal his aura, which is why Yun Tao mistakenly thought that he borrowed the power of a Divine Energy Unity Realm Pinnacle expert. Hei Yan's screams caused Wen Yu, Madame Dogwood, and Nightingale to shiver. Madame Dogwood and Nightingale glanced at Hei Yen, who had almost died under Tsing Hui's sword, and felt a chill run down their spines. No matter what, we should retreat for now. It won't be too late to kill him after half a day. Even if he has a level 5 divine art, he still needs to wait a day before he can use it again. Even if the duration of the divine art is extended, it can't last for 12 hours. When you looked at the terrified Hei Yen, Madame Dogwood, and Nightingale and understood that they could not do anything about it. They could only choose to retreat. However, they had already alerted the enemy. If they retreated now, and Tsing Hui took the opportunity to abandon Dragonslayer Island and flee, they might not be able to catch up to him, and they would miss a level 14 Son of Chaos. Madame Dogwood, bring up the rear and prevent him from chasing after us with his sword. Let's go. Wen Yu shouted unwillingly. She abruptly turned around and quickly retreated with Hei Yen and Nightingale. Although Madame Dogwood was severely exhausted, she had no choice but to step forward and bring up the rear, forcibly activating the soul-sucking bell to prevent Tsing Hui from chasing after them with his sword. Seeing Wen Yu and the others turn to leave, Tsing Hui's sword suddenly changed direction. It's only been half an hour and you're already giving up? I still want to have a good fight with you and test out all my techniques. Since you're not willing, I'll do as you wish and end this battle in advance. In the next moment, a terrifying aura that was several times more powerful than before suddenly erupted from his body. The Gang Qi that was rising all over his body started to boil as he was unable to control it perfectly. It actually formed a huge sun behind him. In the huge sun, the golden crow spread its wings. Vast and blazing light and heat waves were emitted continuously, completely covering the sun's rays within a radius of several dozen kilometers. This is, sensing the change in Tsing Hui's aura, Madame Dogwood, who was in charge of bringing up the rear, instantly froze. Divine art. Divine art. This is a true divine art. You've only been using your own abilities all this time. You're already at the peak of the unity of spirit realm. Wen Yu, Nightingale, and Hei Yen paled in fright. Tsing Hui, who had activated his divine art, wanted to capture them alive as quickly as possible. Madame Dogwood, who was controlling the soul-sucking bell, felt her mind go blank, and then a blazing light filled her vision. Not good. Just as she sensed danger and was about to retreat, a sharp sword light pierced through her body. In an instant, her body was almost completely torn apart. The intense pain caused her to instantly fall unconscious. Run, run, run. It's a trap. A trap. This is a trap. A trap set up by Yun Tao and the Dragon Slayer Island Master. Their goal is to capture us alive and force out our primal chaos incantation. Yun Tao, you'll die a horrible death. The organization won't let you off. The remaining 3 screamed in terror, each of them trying to escape as quickly as possible. However, Tsing Hui, who had activated his divine art, was far stronger than a unity of spirit realm expert. Not to mention that Wen Yu, who was the strongest among them, was only at the late stage of the unity of spirit realm. Even if they all broke through to the blue netherworld realm, they still wouldn't be able to turn the situation around. The sword light pierced through the air. Rolling heat waves rumbled with a terrifying pressure that could shatter the heavens and earth. Before the tip of the sword arrived, the terrifying heat waves contained in the tip of the sword had already crushed over. For a moment, the 3 people who were escaping felt as if they had fallen into a sea of fire, being burned by the flames. They let out shrill screams, and the defensive armor that had merged with their protective chi crumbled in less than a moment. Stop. Stop. I'm Celestial Rock Spiritual Master's disciple. If you kill me, Celestial Rock Spiritual Master won't let you off. Trapped in the flames, Yi Xiao felt as if he was about to be burned to ashes, and he let out a painful scream. However, Tsing Hui's attack didn't stop at all. The blazing golden crow's protective chi tore through Yi Xiao's protective armor and directly swallowed him. Then, it drilled into his body, destroying his dantian and true chi. There was even a strand of true chi that attacked his brain, piercing his spirit sea and causing his spirit to scatter. He couldn't even condense the primal chaos incantation to enter the primal chaos shrine. Yi Xiao was in such a state, and Wen Yu and Hei Yen were no exception. Hei Yen, in particular, was already severely injured. Before Tsing Hui's attack landed, the heat waves from the blazing sun behind him had already caused his entire body to spontaneously combust. After the blazing flames burned all of his protective chi, they invaded his body and wreaked havoc, finally piercing his spirit sea. Tsing Hui didn't really need to attack. This mid-stage unity of divine chi expert had already fallen unconscious due to the severe injury to his brain. Seeing Yi Xiao, Madame Zhu Yu, and Hei Yen captured alive without being able to resist, despair appeared on Wen Yu's face. Dragon Slayer Island Master, don't deprive me of my identity as the son of primal chaos. I know of a cave that was left behind by a saint-level expert. There are countless treasures inside. If you're willing, boom. Before he could finish speaking, Tsing Hui had already slashed down at him with the sword light that had triggered the golden crow's shadow behind him. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.